No Goodwill Hunting. You like apples, Dave?
I do.
How about them apples?
You've been waiting to say that all week. Welcome to ESPN College Football, presented by Cars.com. From Memorial Stadium in Lincoln, one of 3 matchups today involving ranked teams. This game factors into the Big Ten West Championship race. Minnesota and Nebraska. The Gophers control their own destiny to the Big Ten title game if they win today and win in Madison next week. Meanwhile, Nebraska still with a chance. But Nebraska looking to rebound from a disappointing defensive effort against Melvin Gordon and Wisconsin last week. Senior day for Amir Abdullah and Kenny Bell, 2 standouts on the Nebraska offense. The Huskers won the toss, and they're going to put their defense on the field first. Minnesota will receive. Gophers played well at home against Ohio State last week, but could not get off the field on 3rd down. Also had a couple of mistakes, turnovers by the quarterback Mitch Leidner. But the committee, the College Football Playoff Committee, felt pretty good about the Golden Gophers, that they kept them in the top 25. You don't see that ever in the AP or coaches polls, but the committee felt Minnesota is still a top 25 team. Nebraska dropped as well after the loss to Wisconsin, but Cornhuskers still ranked number 23. Weather not as bad as we had last week when it was 15 degrees and snowing in Minneapolis. It's in the 40s today, although windy down on the field. Gusts around 10 or 15 miles an hour right now. They could get up to 25. Jalen Myrick has a kick return for a touchdown. He is deep along with KJ May as Moro Bondi boots it away. And it will be a touchback and come out to the 25-yard line. Dave Pasch, Brian Greasy, Tom Luganville down on the field. Brian, we mentioned that Nebraska still with an outside chance to win the Big Ten, but they're not really thinking about that. They're worried about, can we get off the field on defense? Almost 600 yards rushing they allowed last week.
Yeah, and it's going to be all about attitude. I mean, it's senior day. This defense was embarrassed a week ago. Melvin Gordon, what he did to them. They're going to play a very good back this week in this game against David Cobb. He comes in 1,350 yards on the ground. It's going to be a long day if they don't get him on the ground early.
Now, Bo Pelini has a history of responding. He's 20-5 as Nebraska coach, as David Cobb picks up about 4. 20-5 as Nebraska coach after a loss. That's the best record in the Big Ten over the last 7 years. We mentioned Mitch Leidner had 2 picks against Ohio State. That was a week after he passed for 4 touchdowns against Iowa. Does have a good record as a starting quarterback, 9-4, but they need more from him if Nebraska can stop Cobb.
And they need some production. They don't need him to go 24 for 28. Last year in the game they beat Nebraska, he only had 8 completions. He just has to be efficient when they do throw the football.
So a 4-yard gain on 1st down. Now play action. This is where Leidner is effective, but it's knocked away and incomplete. Nate Gary defending the tight end Max Williams. All right, our impact players are brought to you by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry. Here's Tom.
Well, for Minnesota on offense, guys, David Cobb is the bell cow. They got to feed him early and often. This isn't an offense or a team that has fared well when they've gotten behind early. And defensively for Nebraska, keep an eye on Malik Collins. He could be the next Ndamukong Suh. And we know Randy Gregory can rush the passer, but can he play in a phone booth versus a physical offensive line?
They'll get a shot here maybe to rush the passer. No, Leidner going to keep him. There's nobody on that side of the field for Nebraska. That looked a heck of a lot like last week. Where were the Huskers defensive backs in support on this side of the field? 22-yard run.
Yeah, Dave, they're going to just a fake here. You see there's nobody left for Leidner. It's a nice read from Leidner. Good play design by Matt Limegrover, putting 3 wide receivers on one side of the field. That's a formation that Nebraska's defensive personnel has not seen from Minnesota so far this year.
Leidner is a good runner despite being the heaviest quarterback in the Big Ten, 240 pounds. Here's Cobb, and a good play by Zaire Anderson, Nebraska's leading tackler, bringing down Cobb for a 2-yard loss. He's not easy to get to the ground at 220. 7th leading rusher in the country.
You know, watching that film from a week ago, it was all 11 guys on defense for Nebraska that took their turns, really having struggles getting both Corey Clement and Melvin Gordon on the ground. And you look at these 59 points, 11 yards per rush, and 7 touchdowns. There's no question they've been challenged in practice all week by John Papuchis, their defensive coordinator, and Bo Pelini. We'll see if they rise to the occasion on the first drive.
Cobb. He's to the 46-yard line. Anderson on the tackle. Think about it. John Papuchis' defense went from 20th nationally in their rush defense ranking to 73rd. They gave up fewer yards over a span of 4 games than they did in one game last week against Wisconsin.
And you're right. They weren't terrible coming into that game. They played some teams that could run the football. They played Michigan State, Langford, and they were only averaging 123 yards given up on the ground. But certainly a complete breakdown a week ago, and they will be tested early and often by this Minnesota rush attack.
Let's see if we get a quarterback run here. It's going to be Leidner. And this time Nebraska is not fooled. They saw that coming. Vincent Valentine was there for the Cornhuskers. And it brings up 4th down, and the punt team will come on for the Gophers.
I understand the play call from Matt Limegrover. You know that on 3rd down situations, you're going to get a hard rush upfield. But Valentine and Malik Collins on the inside kept their gaps. Collins pushes his guard back, and that's who ends up tripping Leidner up.
Go 4th down and 5, and Peter Mortel, one of the best punters in the Big Ten, will try to pin Nebraska deep. True freshman DeMornay Pearsonell, who has 2 punt returns for scores, is back off the side of the foot of the punter, and it just dies at the 15-yard line. So that's where Nebraska will start its first offensive series. Sophomore quarterback Tommy Armstrong. We talked about Leidner's struggles last week. Armstrong had some of the same issues at Wisconsin. 12 incompletions and only 62 yards passing. But he's won games. He's 15-3 as a starter.
Yeah, we were talking with Bo Pelini last night. He really felt like Tommy Armstrong took too much of the game on his shoulders a week ago against Wisconsin, put too much pressure on himself. Very competitive kid, and in a big game like that against Wisconsin, you got to let the team around you help you. It doesn't have to be all you making plays all the time. So Bo Pelini's one message to Tommy Armstrong before this game is go have fun, play ball.
And here's Amir Abdullah, hit at the point of attack and spilled at the 18-yard line. A 2-yard run. Our Impact Players brought to you by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry.
Yeah, and part of that 11-man offense that need to step up today is that offensive line. Their captain, their left guard, Jake Cotton, and then Mark Pelini, who has really played well at that center position. Both guys need to come off the football and give room for Amir Abdullah. And then Damian Wilson, the middle linebacker for Minnesota, who's made plays all year in this defense, will be a key in the game.
And it is Pelini that's shaken up. He is Bo's nephew. So on the first play on senior day for Mark Pelini, he goes down.
And he looks like he's in real pain there. This is first-year starter for Mark Pelini, and he has played outstanding this year. Take a look in here. Oh, he just gets rolled up there.
Minnesota player falling in the back of his leg. Back in a moment. ESPN College Football presented by Cars.com. An injury on the first play from scrimmage for Nebraska, and it's Mark Pelini, starting center, being helped off the field here on senior day, the nephew of head coach Bo Pelini. You know, Bo Pelini gets a reputation for being a guy that's grouchy, hard on his players, but he was the first guy out there to talk to Mark Pelini, who's now being carted off. So sophomore Ryan Reeves is his replacement at center, and they go out of an empty set on 2nd and long. Armstrong has a completion. Catch made by Jordan Westerkamp, his 35th reception. He is the 2nd leading receiver this year.
Yeah, that's a tough way for Mark Pelini to go out. You know, you wait He's waited a long time for his chance to start at center and to go out on senior day like that. It's just a shame. Ryan Reeves, now the onus is on him. The only thing good that he has going for him is he's got 2 seniors at both guards right next to him, Jake Cotton and Mike Mowdy. That should help him out with some of those calls up front. But the center back quarter exchange is what the question is all about.
In trouble is Armstrong, able to escape, throw it deep, and got Kenny Bell. The senior makes the grab. He's inside the 30. Bell being chased. And they finally get to him inside the 5. What a throw by Tommy Armstrong. And now Kenny Bell is shaken up. 73-yard reception for Bell, the career leader at Nebraska in receiving yards.
And here's Bell. He's just going to come down and run a little post route. And watch the defenders on this play. They get tied up a little bit in the secondary. There's a little cross route, and right there's miscommunication, and looks like Murray, number 31, who was in charge, Eric Murray, was in charge of staying with Kenny Bell. Just got a little bit mixed up, and give credit to Tommy Armstrong getting that ball downfield, and looked like Kenny Bell took a hard hit when he got to the sideline.
And Bell got up, was being helped towards the Nebraska bench, and then went down again. He's in the field of play now at the 16-yard line, being looked at.
Looks like he went down hard on his shoulder, Dave.
Yeah, and you're already without your starting center on the first play. Now on the third play, you lose your best wide receiver. Hopefully, for Nebraska's sake, Bell's able to return. You saw his stepdad Dan, his mom Tamara in the stands here.
They're going to take him right into the locker room. Looked like he came down hard on his shoulder. You wonder in that instance, when you go down like that, shoulder and head, did his head hit the ground? He's going down, and both the head, yeah, it could be the head or the shoulder in that case.
And again, they tried to help him to the sideline, and he couldn't make it that far.
Oh, yeah.
So first down and goal for Nebraska. Here's Amir Abdullah, and he's inside the 5-yard line. We haven't had a chance yet to talk about Abdullah. He comes in 9th in the nation in rushing, 4th in rushing touchdowns, playing his final home game here at Nebraska.
And there's some other records that are on the plate for Amir Abdullah. He's chasing Mike Rozier for the career mark here at Nebraska. 3 times he's had over 1,000 yards rushing. Quite an incredible career at Nebraska.
Abdullah off the right side, bounces into the end zone. Touchdown, Cornhuskers. th rushing touchdown this season for Amir Abdullah, 13th at home.
Such a pivotal drive for Bo Pelini, this offense, this entire team and program, with what happened a week ago in Madison. Be embarrassed like they were, and everybody had questions as to how this team would come out, their focus and their drive, and on senior day to go right down the field. A big play by both their seniors playing their last game here in Lincoln, Kenny Bell and Abdullah for the touchdown.
After getting the stop on defense, and the point after good by the true freshman Drew Brown. Well, Amir Abdullah, certainly one of the best backs in all of college football. Showed why in that run. Good hard run.
Reese Davis with you in the studio. Dr. Pepper conference update in the Big Ten. Indiana taking on Ohio State. Buckeyes have beaten the Hoosiers on the field 18 straight times. I'm going to go ahead and call it 19. Ezekiel Elliott on the 3rd play from scrimmage takes it to the house. A career long run for him of 65 yards. And then on 4th and 3, JT Barrett to Jeff Hireman for the touchdown. And it's 14-0. 8:28 left in the first.
And Reese, all Ohio State has to do is win, and the Buckeyes are in the Big Ten championship game. Their opponent unknown, but Wisconsin right now with the advantage. In case you missed the touchdown video, it is now posted on the SportsCenter app. Amir Abdullah's first touchdown since October 25th. That gives the Huskers the lead. Big play on that drive. Tommy Armstrong with a 73-yard pass to Kenny Bell, who was then injured. The longest reception of the season for Nebraska.
And a great start for Tommy Armstrong. You know, he had that quick pass to start the game, 2 for 2 on that drive. And Tim Beck with some good play calls to get the rhythm of his young quarterback early in the game.
Monty's first kick was not returnable. This one will be taken on the goal line by Myrick, who's got great speed. And he can't break a tackle, though. Dragged down just shy of the 30-yard line by Jordan Nelson.
Back and take a look at the 2 injuries in that drive. It was a touchdown drive, but it could be how costly will it be. Mark Pelini gets rolled up there. That's a significant injury when you have an injury to your center, and then Kenny Bell goes down hard. Scary moment there when he goes down on the field, and clearly he's struggling with a head injury, and I don't foresee, it didn't look like either one of those 2 guys coming back in this football game. And how will Nebraska overcome that?
Bo Pelini told us yesterday that in all their wins they've scored, or excuse me, in their losses they've scored first. Leidner dumping it off to Cobb, dragged down by Anderson, who was in coverage. A 7-yard gain.
Yeah, you're right. Last week they were up 17-3 on the road against Wisconsin, and then Wisconsin rolled off 56 unanswered. So Bo Pelini knows, he understands that just because you start fast doesn't mean you're going to win the game.
Second down and 3 for the Gophers. Trying to get 8 wins for the 2nd straight year. Leidner with another carry, and he picks up the first down to the 45.
You know, last week against Ohio State, Mitch Leidner did not play well. He didn't have the kind of rhythm that he had the week prior against Iowa. I think him keeping the football here is a good thing for Minnesota early. 240 pounds, much like Nebraska, who has two guys in Armstrong and Abdullah that don't run the football. It's a Leidner and Cobb show, and for Leidner to get some runs early is a positive.
Here's Cobb, finds a hole, drags a defender into Nebraska territory. The corner, Daniel Davey, trying to bring down Cobb, who, by the way, is not a Doak Walker semifinalist. 3 players from the Big Ten were named semifinalists. Cobb is not one of them. He's the one guy that nobody really talks about when it comes to the Big Ten backs. He's not in Melvin Gordon's category in terms of being a Heisman candidate, but he's a talented kid.
Well, he may be the one that has the longest career in the NFL, just because of he hasn't had that many carries in his career in college, and he's a physical back.
Leidner keeping again, and he's able to get the first down. He scoots out at the 40-yard line, so a 9-yard run for Leidner.
Well, this is what we anticipated from Matt Linegrover, the offensive coordinator for Minnesota. When you sit there and watch the tape of Wisconsin running freely against Nebraska, why throw it early? They've been running it exclusively in these first 2 drives, and Mitch Leidner gets another first down.
So a fresh set of downs for Minnesota. Second time in 2 possessions the Gophers have been in Nebraska territory. Here's May. KJ May coming in motion. They hand it to him on that jet sweep. And Nebraska with a gang tackle at the 33, but another 7 rushing yards. There is a penalty flag thrown as Max Williams was getting into it with Josh Mitchell. The tight end giving up 100 pounds to a corner. Nebraska trying to defend Williams with corners.
Answer the play. Unsportsmanlike conduct on the defense. Number 5. 15-yard penalty. Automatic. First down.
It was on Mitchell, who's going at it with Williams.
Yeah, we were talking with Bo Pelini yesterday they felt like they were going to use some of their corners to match up against Max Williams because they're treating him like a wide receiver. And it looked like Max Williams got into the head of Mitchell.
So Mitchell is pulled. Jonathan Rose comes in. And Minnesota is now in the red zone. 4 carries and a catch already for David Cobb. We'll see if they try to pound it here with 2 tight ends. They do. Cobb can't find a hole. Spun down by Zaire Anderson after a gain of a yard.
Zaire Anderson was the one player on the film from a week ago in that Wisconsin game that kind of stuck out. He did bring his hat sometimes, had some physical tackles in that game. He's one of those leaders on this team from that linebacker position as a senior. He's got to get these guys fired up here in the red zone.
No, 2nd down and 9. Little option. Leidner keeping. And he gets hit at the 13-yard line. So at 3 yards there. Josh Mitchell, who had to sit for a play after getting the penalty, made the hit along with Randy Gregory. So now 3rd down and manageable. 3rd and 5. So you're in a situation you could run Cobb, you can run the quarterback, or you can throw the ball here.
And that's the 5th time they've run Leidner already in this game, and Nebraska's starting to figure it out. They're keen on Leidner. And here's the time in the game where, especially in the red zone, off of play action, they love to try to get the ball to number 88, Max Williams. 7 touchdowns on the year. Lined up in the wing right there. Now he's in motion.
They'll go 2 back here. 3rd down and 5, and Leidner to the air. Going to dump it off to the fullback. Caught inside the 5 for a 1st down by Thomas. Hit out of bounds short of the goal line. But it'll be 1st and goal for the Gophers.
Both tight ends for Minnesota come off the football here and almost like a little rub route, and then they get the fullback in the flat. Everybody's guarding Max Williams. There's 3 guys on him. Great read from Leidner just to dump it in the flat.
Nice design too, right, by Matt Linerover?
Absolutely, absolutely. If you've got an asset like Max Williams, you throw him the football if he's one-on-one, and if he's double or triple covered, then he's taking defenders away from your other receivers.
They had Williams starting there in the backfield. Now you see him in motion. And it's a quarterback sneak. Leidner at 240 trying to push the pile. No signal yet. Still no signal, and there it is. Touchdown, Minnesota. That's the 7th rushing score this year for sophomore quarterback Mitch Leidner, and there's another Nebraska player injured.
That's Randy Gregory, their star from the defensive end position. He likes to rush the passer. He don't want to be in the bottom of piles like that.
I mean, think about it.
On the ground.
I mean, they've already lost 2 guys on senior day. This could be his last game at home. He's a junior, but is thought to be a top 10 or 15 draft pick and might elect to go to the NFL. We even played a quarter, and 3 key players for Nebraska with serious injuries.
There he is right in the middle. He gets, if you're high, you get pushed off the line of scrimmage, and then it's hard to tell what happens after that.
You know, one of the questions about Gregory and whether he would go to the NFL is how he would do against the run, goal line, or just, you know, out in the field of play 1st and 10, and at 240 pounds, is he big enough to be a run-stopping defensive end, be on the field for 3 downs?
Not at 240 pounds. He's not in the NFL, and I think that's why some people, including Bo Pelini, might think he might have an opportunity to get Randy Gregory back for another year, and it's good to see him get up and.
You know, it didn't look bad there, Grease, but remember, he's had some injuries. He ankled last game, and then the first 3 games of the year, he was limited with a knee injury.
Yeah, he missed the McNeese game, and last week he got a little bit rolled up in the Wisconsin game on that ankle, but that didn't seem like either one of those injuries. That's when you walk off like that, shaking your head, and you just got your bell rung. Impressive answer from Minnesota. Both running the football and Mitch Leidner, much like Tommy Armstrong, getting into a little rhythm off of play action. He's in a rhythm now, running the ball and throwing it on 3rd down. And big answer for Minnesota on the road.
Santoso on for the extra point to tie it at 7. So each team with a scoring drive. 4:43 on the clock here in the first. Rushing touchdown number 7 on the season for Mitch Leidner.
ESPN College Football is presented by Cars.com. All drive, no drama. And in part by Chevrolet. Find new roads.
Everybody working hard here on Senior Day, including the band out here practicing at 6:15 this morning. Greasy had been up for 3 hours already prepping for the telecast, especially for his opening line about the apples. Matt Damon imitation.
Could have been Spielman. We're down there working out, getting a workout in.
No, that's at 2:15. An hour after him. Minnesota with a nice drive after Nebraska scored, tied the game at 7. 4:43 to go in the opening quarter. Short kickoff and juggled. Here's Pearson L, and he gets taken down at the 20-yard line. Stories have been the injuries for Nebraska, starting with Mark Pelini.
Yeah, again, gets rolled up on. Then Kenny Bell goes down hard and wobbles off. And now their other superstar on the defensive side, and Randy Gregory comes down and gets his head right there. It looks like it just gets compressed, Dave. His neck gets compressed, and then after that, he kind of falls off and was limp.
So first down for Nebraska, and Armstrong will throw, and the catch made by Westerkamp. Big hit though by Buddy Calhoun.
And there's Gregory. They were looking at the back of his neck there. And you can see,
you're talking about, Brian.
Yeah, he just kind of goes limp and falls down, and that's a scary look. And again, it didn't look like he was knocked out. It looked like he was just some kind of nerve issue in his neck.
Westerkamp with a catch, because immediately after he went limp and laid down, he did lift his head up.
Yeah.
So it didn't seem that he was knocked out.
Sometimes you get that compression in your neck and you get a stinger and your entire body tingles and goes numb, and you get, understandably, you get very nervous and cautious. It's good to see him up and moving around in his own power.
First down for Nebraska on its 33-yard line. Armstrong to the air again, another short throw, and a catch made by Alonzo Moore. With Kenny Bell out, others have to step up, and they haven't had a lot of help at that position. That's just the 10th catch for Moore this year. They had trouble getting off the line of scrimmage last week against Wisconsin.
Yeah, well, these guys need to step up, and you know, DeMaurier Pearson L, number 15, a true freshman who's got speed. He's one that needs to step up as well. Westerkamp just had a catch. Tariq Allen. They've got some candidates, but nobody's stepped into that starting role so far.
Another pass play. Armstrong instead steps up and is taken down. Got back to the line of scrimmage. Damian Wilson, third leading tackler in the Big Ten. He made the hit on Armstrong, so it'll bring up a third down and long.
Interesting play calls here early from Tim Beck, the offensive coordinator. 3 straight passes from Tommy Armstrong. Abdullah has not touched the football. Brings up a 3rd and 8.
And they don't throw it to him a lot either. We'll see if he stays in to protect. He struggled in that area last week against Wisconsin trying to pass protect. Armstrong in trouble, flushed out, being chased by 2 Gophers, and throws a dangerous pass that's nearly picked off. And another injured Husker. Alonzo Moore got leveled by Eric Murray.
Yeah, and Tommy Armstrong's got to realize you just got to, sometimes the defense wins. You're not going to get a first down. Just tuck this ball down and run out of bounds. You throw the ball back across the field, not only do you risk an interception, but you're going to get somebody hurt. Those plays are off schedule. Those plays are off schedule, and there you go, Alonzo Moore down on the ground. You throw that ball late and you don't know where defenders are. That's when receivers really get hurt.
And Eric Murray wasn't looking for the ball. He was going to make the hit on the wide receiver, Alonzo Moore.
And a clean hit.
Yeah.
You put the receiver in a bad position. You also put the defender in a bad position, because that Eric Murray's got to hit that guy. And then you got to think about, well, I can't hit him high. I can't. So the guy's not looking, and that's when people get hurt. And a lot of times, you know, you fault the defenders, the receiver. It's the quarterback half the time that throws balls where they shouldn't be thrown.
I can't remember the last time I've done a game where I've seen 4 guys on one team get hurt before the end of the first quarter. They took the helmet of Randy Gregory, so it doesn't look like he's going to go back in here when Nebraska returns to defense. And we always saw Kenny Bell and Mark Pelini carted off. Kenny Bell helped back to the Nebraska locker room. Craig James is the deep man for Minnesota. Here's the punt. It's a good one. And James with a fair catch. Minnesota will have the ball, but inside the 10. Let's check in with Reese Davis.
Dave, Taco Bell studio update takes us to the Big Ten. Ohio State had jumped on Indiana 14-0. The young quarterback, Xander Diamant, he's young, he's restless, he's bold. Some might say beautiful. After all, those are the soap operas his father acted in for years. And Xander acted like a big-time running quarterback, made a terrific run, put him on the doorstep, and the Hoosiers are within 4 now at 14-10.
Wow.
I know Mayday appreciates those soap opera references. He's a big soap fan.
First down for Minnesota, and here's Cobb picking up about 3 yards before he's brought down by Gary at the 13-yard line.
Opportunity here for Minnesota to take control of this football game. They're a physical team, and they're going to hit you. They're going to pound at you on the offensive line. This offensive line of Epping, Campion, Olsen, their top 3 guys, 154 starts among that offensive line for Minnesota. They are not afraid to come off the football.
And 95 in white at right defensive end, replacing the injured Randy Gregory. Here's Leidner, nowhere to go.
They blew the whistle before that snap.
Timeout was called by Minnesota. So the Gophers use a timeout. They have 2 remaining. We're inside 2 minutes to go in the first quarter here in Lincoln. We're tied at 7. Later today, Florida State looks to extend its unbeaten streak, taking on Boston College. I think Matt Burke and Game Day picked BC. Eagles and the Seminoles at 3:30, ABC or ESPN2. Here at 7-7. Bo Pelini's had more success than any coach that was hired back in 2008. Yet here in Lincoln, he gets criticized weekly. Big hole off the right side for Cobb. They drag him down to the 24. Max Williams is out there blocking for his running back. That's an 11-yard pickup for Cobb, who comes into this game needing about 100 yards to pass Lawrence Maroney for the single-season school record.
When you watch the film of David Cobb, the thing that jumps out most impressive are the yards after contact. Over half of the yards he's gained this year, Dave, have been after contact, and that's the one thing Nebraska struggled most with last week against Melvin Gordon.
Leidner going to keep it. Not much there. His 7th carry here of the first quarter. David Santos on the tackle. Now Cobb carries it about 25 times per game, and then his backup, some of them don't have 25 carries on the year, so that's why you're seeing a lot of Leidner when Cobb isn't touching it.
Well, we've seen predominantly that zone read and that zone power inside, where it's either Cobb or it's Leidner. We haven't seen a whole lot of the straight power and counter game, but Minnesota also has that up front.
Leidner now throwing, and it was behind Cobb, incomplete. 3rd down.
No, guys, there's so much strain being placed on this Nebraska defense right now because of Mitch Leidner, the Minnesota quarterback. He has run the football or kept the football off of the zone read action more in this first quarter than he probably has in the last 3 games combined. So he's forcing Nebraska's defense and Lime Grover, the offensive coordinator, to account for all of Minnesota's 11 players in the run game. That can strain you if you want to get into any type of man-to-man principles, because you got to now account for the quarterback.
And again, with 3rd and 6, Tom, you know, there are options here. It's not necessarily a pass. They picked up 3rd and 5 or 6 with Leidner running before. He's going to try to run here. He's going nowhere. Brought down for a sack. Greg McMullen gets him at the 17.
Well, you would wonder with Randy Gregory out of the game, where's the pass rush going to come for Nebraska? Right here, Malik Collins and McMullen, two guys that are really coming on, young sophomores for Bo Pelini in this defense. Collins especially 300 pounds, 280 for McMullen. They come off the football and can get to the quarterback.
Final seconds here, the opening quarter, and Nebraska should get good field position. That's the end of the first quarter. Minnesota will elect to punt from the other side of the field when we come back. 7-7 after 1 in Lincoln. Now, Nebraska actually called a timeout. Did they say that was touched by Minnesota? I don't think it hit a gopher. Tariq Allen jumped on it. Nebraska, what happened was actually called timeout with 2 seconds left. Minnesota thought the quarter was over, but Nebraska had called a timeout because of the wind situation. They wanted Minnesota to punt left to right. And now they're discussing here whether it hit a Minnesota player. The way Tariq Allen reacted, he thought it hit a gopher.
Well, I think that decision definitely worked out for Bo Pelini. A poor punt into the wind. They're going to get the football on Minnesota's side of the field. And I think, look at number 7 there. That's what I thought it hit. Was
it hit it. Yeah, he had to jump on it there when he hit it. Just his reaction was interesting. At first, I thought maybe he assumed it hit a Minnesota player, but no, he had to jump on it once he touched it. Minnesota didn't react, though. But clearly Allen got it back, so it will be Nebraska ball when we start the second quarter.
ESPN is your home of the new college football playoff.
When these teams met last year in Minneapolis, it was one of the biggest wins for Coach Kill and company. Jerry was coaching upstairs at that point, and Tracy Clays was on the sideline. Derek Engel with a big touchdown catch, and then Philip Nelson with a 1-yard touchdown run to ice the game in the fourth quarter as Minnesota ends a 16-game losing streak to Nebraska. First time they beat the Huskers since 1960. Can they do it today? Minnesota still with a chance to win the Big Ten West if they can knock off the Huskers today and win in Madison next week. And they would move on to the Big Ten championship game. Wisconsin plays at Iowa later today on ABC at 3:30. Here's Amir Abdullah breaking tackles. And inside the 45, a gain of 5 on the play.
I like how they're getting back, guys, to getting the ball to Amir Abdullah, but I also like how they changed the tempo up in the last series and gave some opportunities for Tommy Armstrong to throw the football. And if you notice, they were all underneath short, what I call confidence throws. Get him in the rhythm, get him feeling good. They want him to have fun, but they want him to be relaxed. And if you feel confident because you completed some balls, you get the ball in rhythm and the offense in rhythm, now you turn around, hand it off to Amir Abdullah.
All short throws, Tom, except for the one deep ball to Kenny Bell, which probably gave him the most confidence.
Armstrong trying to find running room, and he's wrapped up for minimal gain by Demarius Travis. Third down.
And I think when you have a young quarterback, like Tommy Armstrong, just a sophomore, and he's playing for the first time this season, the last 2 games have been rough. He's got 3 interceptions, only completing 35% of his passes. But you also want to give the ball to your best player, and that's Amir Abdullah. And so that's the game that Tim Beck has to play here early in this half on offense.
Only 14 completions the last 2 games for Armstrong, 5 already. Third down and 5. Armstrong with time, and a nice throw that's pulled in by Westerkamp inside the 30 for a first down. We were wondering with Kenny Bell out who would step up. It's Jordan Westerkamp, and now he's calling for a substitute.
Well, and it starts with protection, Dave. You can see Tommy Armstrong has protection. He can go from one side of the field to the other. That ball is tight coverage. Westerkamp doesn't get a whole lot of separation. And oh, by the way, that's been a big problem for Nebraska receivers outside of Kenny Bell. But that ball had to be perfectly thrown, and Westerkamp comes down for first down.
But they're looking at Westerkamp. Meanwhile, there were 12 men in the huddle for Nebraska, so that's a foul on the Huskers. But Westerkamp tapped his helmet saying, I need to be replaced, and the trainers are looking at him now. Again, they lost their center, Mark Pelini, on the first play. Kenny Bell on the third play on a long pass. Randy Gregory was hurt on defense.
As Pelini has come back out, he got that ankle taped, but there's crutches right next to him as well. I don't foresee him coming back in this football game, so a little bit more weight on the shoulders of Tommy Armstrong.
You see Gregory there just put his helmet on. Here's Armstrong taking off inside the 25. They got a big chunk of it back there on first down and 15. Demarius Travis on the tackle at the 21-yard line.
Yeah, you're going to get great action here, which takes the defense with it. You got to respect Amir Abdullah, and you get double teams and a great look up front for Tommy Armstrong to run. He's got the speed and the power, quite frankly, at 220 pounds to make guys miss downfield.
A 13-yard run. Here's Abdullah, tripped up, but bouncing off of tacklers and fighting for the first down. Abdullah's 200 pounds. He's not a huge back, but he is not easy to get to the ground.
He's a violent runner, despite the fact that he's not very big. They looked there. Even a 2-yard run for a first down means a ton to Amir Abdullah, and that's why his teammates love him, and that's why the fans here in Nebraska have loved him for the past 4 years.
They go two back now with Terrell Newby back there with Abdullah, who you see motioning out. Armstrong will keep it here. And Armstrong goes down. Cedric Thompson gets him to the ground near the line of scrimmage. Just to finish up on Abdullah, you mentioned earlier 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons. He needs 300 yards. Abdullah does all purpose today for 7,000. He'd be the 11th player in college football history to reach that mark. And also a class award finalist, which is an award that goes to a college football player that excels both on and off the field and in the community. Armstrong on second down, going to the end zone. Incomplete. Too high for Pearsonell. 3rd and 10.
Running a double post, and they're trying to get Pearsonell, the true freshman. Cedric Thompson, the safety. Very nice job. They run both posts. Westerkamp inside, and then Pearson right behind him. Nice job by both safeties, Demarius Travis and Cedric Thompson, who last week gave up a big touchdown to Ohio State. Both those guys in miscommunication. Nice job of coverage on Pearsonell.
Westerkamp back on the field for Nebraska. Here's 3rd and 10. Armstrong moving to his right. And will he run or throw? He'll throw. And it's caught by Pearsonell. The ball comes out. It's recovered by Minnesota. But wait, did he score? Did he get it across? Did he first possess it? Second, did he get it across the plane for a touchdown before the ball came out? No signal yet by the officials. The ball was recovered in the end zone by Body Calhoun for Minnesota.
Just watching it live, it looked like he clearly had caught the ball and had possession. Question is, did he get it across the plane?
The ruling on the field was a reception that the receiver broke the plane of the goal line. Touchdown.
Dangerous throw back across the middle. Great catch in traffic by Pearsonell. And right there, yeah, very clear.
That field was a touchdown.
Across the plane. Great effort by Pearsonell to get that football in the end zone. And a great job by Tommy Armstrong. Let's make sure he doesn't cross the original line of scrimmage before he throws this ball, scrambles, keeps this play alive. Yeah, and any part of your body behind that black line, and that's a legal throw.
Yes.
Great play by Armstrong.
Right. Good call, Grease. It has to be fully over, your body fully over, for it to be a foul. And it wasn't. He still had the right foot behind the line. Dangerous play by Pearsonell to stick the ball out with 2 guys trying to tackle him.
But, you know, you're as a coach, you tell those receivers not to do that. And especially young receivers, all of you freshmen want to score a touchdown, right? So they're going to extend that ball out. But as a coach, you want them to secure that football and try to power yourself in and not give up a 1st and goal situation at the 2-inch line.
So they're looking at everything here. They're looking to see, okay, was he definitely behind the line when he threw the ball? Did the receiver definitely across the plane. And I think we can agree that there's no video evidence to suggest he didn't, because it has to be indisputable to
After
overturn
further
it.
review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. Touchdown.
So that is Pearsonell's 3rd touchdown catch, 5th overall score this year, and the 15th passing touchdown for Tommy Armstrong.
Well, and that's Tommy Armstrong, 7 out of 9 in this game. 9 attempts already in a little bit over a quarter. I think it's pretty evident that Nebraska feels like they have a lot of respect for Minnesota's defensive front seven. Not just going to be able to line up and run the football. They're going to have to throw it to win. And without Kenny Bell, who's going to step up? Pearsonell, big touchdown.
Tonight on ABC, crosstown rivalry heats up. It's the Trojans and Bruins. UCLA number 9 in this week's college football playoff rankings. Tonight, 8 Eastern on ABC. USC lost a couple close games, including on the Hail Mary against Arizona State. But don't be surprised if the Trojans win that one tonight.
Well, the Utah game. But then again, they did win some close games, too. We were out there for the Arizona game. Arizona missed a late field goal that would have won it. But certainly, when you combine Buck Allen and some of that talent and Algalore at the wide receiver position, and young guys like Juju Smith, and Cody Kessler's been the most underrated quarterback all year, in my opinion.
He played much better the last 6 weeks or so. Short kickoff into that win, and it's muffed. Picked up by May at the 13-yard line, so it'll be Minnesota ball. And a penalty flag thrown. They're going to say that because the play was dead, it was a late hit, either that or unnecessary roughness. It was muffed by Myrick and then recovered by May.
Yeah, this is one of those calls that I go pick it up, go either way.
There's no foul on the play for a late hit. The play was in the air, could not stop. First down.
That's great. I like that. Pick that flag up.
I agree with you. All right, let's take a look at what's happened so far. It's a lot through a quarter plus. Cobb closing in on Lawrence Maroney's single-season rushing record. 4 injured players, 1 did return. And it looks like another is coming back in the game. With more on that, here's Tom.
Yeah, guys, I walked over to the Nebraska sideline, and defensive coordinator John Papuch just kind of smirked at me. I smiled back. I said, "You getting Randy back?" He goes, "Oh, yeah, he'll be back in right now."
And he's out there on 1st down and 10. Run play, Cobb. And able to slip tackles. Look at him sneak his way out to the 18-yard line for 5. Here's Reese.
Dave, kind of a nasty day in East Lansing. Michigan State taking it to Rutgers. The Scarlet Knights have the 2nd worst rush defense in the Big Ten and among the bottom feeders in the country in rush D. And Jeremy Langford taking advantage of just that, going right down the sidelines. He's carried it 9 times for 86 yards and 2 scores, and Sparty's up by 21.
And Reese, we just saw here on the bottom line that Indiana is within 1 in Columbus, 14-13, Ohio State. 2nd down and 5. Leidner handed it off to May, stretching for the 1st down. And he's got it. Just shy of the 25-yard line.
KJ May needs to be an important part of this running game for Minnesota to win this game on the road. When they beat Iowa at home, they blew them out, and KJ May had 10 attempts rushing the football and a touchdown. Last week, he didn't have as much a part of the offense against Ohio State. He needs to be the one that takes some of the pressure off of the inside running game with Cobb and Leidner.
They bring him in motion again and fake it to him. Leidner now looking for his tight end. Here's Max Williams. And Williams, the only Big Ten tight end who's a Mackey Award semifinalist, out to the 39-yard line.
And this is good design. You get KJ May involved. He's going to come in the formation. And here's the tight end. He's just going to leak out late. You got to respect KJ May. Sorry, he came from across the formation. You hide the formation, hide the alignment of Max Williams, and then slip him out into the flat. He's made a living at Minnesota catching those kind of balls.
12 career touchdowns for Max Williams, who's a former high school quarterback. And here's some trickery by the Golden Gophers. Berkeley Edwards looked like he was going to get hit in the backfield and lose yardage. Instead, he gets about 3 to the 42-yard line before David Santos bangs him out of play.
Randy Gregory's been back out on the field, but he hasn't looked his old self. He's kind of tentative, understandably so. If you get a neck injury and you get tingles and a stinger, and that affects you in the way that you feel confident coming off the ball and engaging with offensive linemen and chasing down backs and flinging your body around. So keep an eye on number 4 now he plays the rest of this game.
One of the best pass rushers in college football. He's been banged up throughout the year. Junior from Fishers, Indiana. Widener trying to find a hole, and he does. Into Nebraska territory, runs out of bounds inside the 35-yard line. A missed tackle in the hole, and Leidner with a 21-yard run.
Well, I think Minnesota's being smart. Run right at Gregory. You know, they pull the guard. There's Gregory getting blocked pretty easily. That's Isaac Hayes, the guard. He wraps around. Watch him get a block on Gregory. You got to shed that block if you're a defensive end, and then a missed tackle in the hole. And Leidner gets big gainer.
Zaire Anderson couldn't bring down Leidner. Anderson weighs 20 pounds less than Leidner. 63 rushing yards already for the Minnesota quarterback. Play action. Leidner going to take off. And he gets hit hard at the 26-yard line by Nate Gary. Gain of 6, though, for Leidner. Playing smart football right now.
He is playing smart football, and smart football from Minnesota. Takes a hit there. That's a clean hit by Gary. I'll tell you what, after the game that Nebraska had, and Gary in particular had last week against Wisconsin, they're not going to leave anything to chance on the sideline. They're going to hit everything that moves.
And so far, they've given up 122 rushing yards, so a lot of those by the quarterback. Here's Cobb. Cobb finds a running lane and then pushes the pile inside the 20-yard line. We talked about how tough he is to bring down to 220 pounds. And again, this is somebody who's only started 17 games. He didn't have a lot of carries his first 2 years. He was 3rd on the depth chart going into his junior season. And now he's got back-to-back 1,200-yard seasons. He's 7th in Minnesota history in career rushing yards, and he's played basically 2 years.
And if I'm Matt Limegrover, the offensive coordinator, I'm going to run Cobb right at Randy Gregory.
Cobb between the tackles, and Gregory made the hit at the 14-yard line, so a 4-yard pickup there for Cobb.
And that was the first play that I've seen Gregory since he's back in the game, that he took on a block and then shed it and got to David Cobb. You saw it's now he's starting to feel a little bit better. But at only 240 pounds, the strategy for Minnesota at the beginning of the game was to run at Gregory and see if he could hold up. And then when he gets a little bit nicked, even more so.
Leidner and Gregory not fooled. Gary also there. Maybe a half a yard for Leidner, so it brings up 3rd down.
Here comes Randy Gregory. You see him roll that, guys. You see he's just going to play it there. And I don't agree with not blocking him. You might want to block him. I know they're reading him, but I would much rather see a double team come off and a big offensive tackle and a big offensive guard than I would try to read him with the quarterback. He's just got too much athletic ability, and he can play both.
3rd down and 5 for Minnesota. Play fake. Leidner with time. End zone pass is way overshot, intended for Max Williams, but a penalty flag is down at the line of scrimmage. You would assume that Nebraska would decline that, which would bring up 4th down and 5, and the Gophers would likely kick a field goal. Or do you push him back and accept the penalty?
They might. This could go either way with Bo Pelini. Now Santos, the kicker for Minnesota, has got a big leg, so I think he would feel confident they would make it anyway.
27. Penalties declined. 4th down.
So Nebraska's defense holds, and here comes Santoso.
Santoso had a 52-yard attempt last week in the snow against Ohio State, and he had plenty of leg and just hit off the upright.
This is a 30-yard try. And it's blocked. Ball loose, and it's picked up at the 20-yard line by Gary. Into Minnesota territory. Inside the 30. Gary will take it all the way. A blocked field goal for a touchdown, Nebraska. An 85-yard return by Gary. Randy Gregory appeared to be the man that blocked the field goal try by Santoso.
The block came from right in the middle of the formation. Kick from Santoso was a little bit low, and Santoso was the only one left to get Gary on the ground, and he had a bevy of lead blockers for the touchdown.
So instead of it being 14-10, a 4-point advantage for Nebraska. It's a 14-point lead after Drew Brown's extra point.
Bo Pelini said Nate Gary was the emotional leader of this defense. See Gregory with his vertical gets up in the middle of that formation, and Gary gets the football, and after last week getting run on by Melvin Gordon, Gary and Bo Pelini couldn't be more excited.
(21-7) Nebraska on top after a blocked field goal return for a touchdown.
There's Randy Gregory right there. He's the one that's going to get his arm up. Great job pushing and then getting that hand up. Block, and then Nate Gary. See, Nate Gary has a chance. Actually, Corey Cooper right there misses it. He had a chance to be the all-star. Well, when you drop the ball, somebody else is going to take it. Nate Gary gets it. Great blocking by Josh Mitchell, and Zaire Anderson, number 13, right there on the kicker, seals it.
And a lot of times you get a block on the back in that situation, but they did a good job to avoid that. They almost did it to Max Williams, but held up. And so the second block this season for Randy Gregory, and Gary takes it back for his first touchdown, and now it's 21-7 Nebraska. Getting into the wind, here's Myrick. And Myrick able to get out of an ankle tackle, but then stumbles to the 23-yard line. And if you're a Nebraska fan, it's good to see Bo Pelini smile.
ESPN College Football is brought to you by TD Ameritrade and Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. Available now, rated mature.
Minnesota now has possession of 3 of the 4 trophies they play for, including the Little Brown Jug with their victory over Michigan. Floyd of Rosedale, when they knocked off Iowa. They can get the Paul Bunyan Axe if they can somehow knock off Wisconsin next week. Badgers are 5-1, and if they win today at Iowa and then home next week, they will play in the Big Ten championship game. Nebraska needs to win out and get some help. Minnesota actually controls its own destiny, playing both Nebraska and Wisconsin. And here's David Cobb, and he goes flying over a teammate, Corey Cooper, on the tackle at the 27-yard line. So a 4-yard pickup there for Cobb.
I think if you're Minnesota, no reason to panic here. Down 2 scores. You give up a special teams touchdown. But really, you've been efficient on offense, running the football. Mitch Leidner has gotten into a little bit of a rhythm. Continue what's worked. Run the football with Cobb and then play action off of it.
They have 141 rushing yards so far. They possessed the ball for 17 minutes to just 8 for Nebraska, but the Cornhuskers lead by 2 touchdowns. Here's Berkeley Edwards, cuts it upfield, gets slammed down, but good hard run by Edwards, who is a freshman from Novi, Michigan, who has great speed, high school champ in the 100 and 200 meters, but he's shaken up on the play.
Yeah, he came down hard, Dave. The back of his head hit the ground. Take a look. Tries to run over. Look at the back of his head. Hits the ground there. That's the most dangerous of all of those. It's a physical game right now. These guys are not trying to shake guys, and a guy like Berkeley Edwards, who's got speed, lowering his shoulder.
Here's Cobb, hit in the backfield and spilled. Zaire Anderson, who came in with 9 tackles for a loss, makes a play in the backfield for the 2nd time.
Well, interesting, because Anderson was kind of confused in the alignment initially. Look at him. They're trying to communicate right there at the linebacker position, and Zaire Anderson kind of falls into a play. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Anderson, a senior from Philadelphia. He is a graduate student, so it's his final home game. Nebraska's at Iowa, ABC on Friday. Leidner rolling left, and an errant throw. Try to hit KJ May. Daniel Davey running with him. So 3rd down and 11, and this is nobody wants to be in this position, but especially a team like Minnesota.
Matt Limegrover, the offensive coordinator, on the right. They do one of the better jobs in all of college football of utilizing the talent that they have. At Minnesota, they don't have these 5-star recruits, speed galore. They've got guys that are lunch pail guys, and Matt Limegrover, give them credit, they've done a great job of utilizing the talent that they have. Right here, you got to be careful. In block number 4, he's lined up at the defensive tackle position.
Leidner has time, and it's incomplete. Looked like Daniel Davey was all over the receiver, Isaac Frichte. No flag. It is 4th down.
Great coverage from Daniel Davey. Very physical. Last week was not the kind of game that Daniel Davey likes to play. He got away with it there. That was a little too physical. Grabbed hold of the jersey. But you know Daniel Davey was challenged this week. After giving up all those yards rushing, he wasn't tackling very well against Melvin Gordon a week ago. He had some missed assignments that gave up the first long touchdown. And then the comeback, great coverage on back-to-back plays from Daniel Davey.
Although that should have been a flag for interference or holding. He was grabbing the jersey before the ball was in the air. Pearson-El, the deep man, has to back up, and it almost hit him, but ends up bouncing inside the 10 and down by Minnesota around the 9-yard line. The way Minnesota reacted, I don't think that hit Pearson-El. So Nebraska will have the ball inside the 10 with a 14-point lead.
Welcome back to Lincoln. 21-7. Nebraska is up. Big reason why is Tommy Armstrong's play in the first half. He's been elusive. Get out of the pocket, extend plays, and then take some shots downfield. Minnesota has not been able to keep him in the pocket consistent enough. You see, he's got that athletic ability to get outside the pocket, elude, and then take the shot downfield. It's a dangerous throw, but Pearson-El gets the touchdown, and Tommy Armstrong, off of a very shaky last 2 games, has come out 7-9, 126 yards and a touchdown.
And they've extended their lead despite not having the football the last 8 minutes. Got a touchdown and a blocked field goal. Amir Abdullah with the carry out to the 14-yard line, a gain of a handful before Devondre Campbell makes the stop.
Guys, Minnesota's seen this type of player before last week at quarterback, because Tommy Armstrong's built just like J.T. Barrett. Tough to bring down, but I would argue what we've seen today, even though Minnesota's played good team defense, what Tommy Armstrong's been able to do is create those second reaction throws out of the pocket where he's kept his eyes downfield and delivered the ball, whereas last week J.T. Barrett was strictly a runner when things broke down.
Barrett had a long touchdown run against this Minnesota defense. Abdullah breaks the tackle and gets the first down to the 22-yard line. They're not a big guy, but he runs hard. First down. They'll stop the clock here to reset the change.
And that was great blocking up front. Remember, Mark Pelini, the center, is out of this game. So how is his backup Ryan Reeves performing? Pretty good so far. They're getting some push up front. Again, we mentioned he's got the advantage of having two seniors on either side of him. At the right guard position, Mike Mouty, the left guard, Jay Cotton. Certain that they are helping him out with some of those calls and some of those combo blocks up front.
Nebraska being conservative again, just taking time off the clock and running the ball. Amani Cross stopped for a 2-yard gain. Let's go to Reese.
All right, Dave, Lex's halftime report coming up. Ohio State's been sloppy, and they're in a fight at halftime against Indiana. Michigan State is running roughshod over Rutgers, who looks as if they want the season to be finished already. We'll also look ahead to the afternoon games and get you up to date on the game, as Yale is giving Harvard all kinds of trouble as the Crimson try to clinch the Ivy outright.
Well, you know, the College Football Playoff Committee is watching that Ohio State-Indiana game very closely. Time now for Aflac trivia question, as Minnesota called a timeout. Nebraska holds the FBS record for consecutive home sellouts. In case you weren't sure, just come to the stadium and look. You see it there, 340 straight. Who's number 2?
Oh, that's a good one.
Second longest streak. It's well behind Nebraska, but it is a big school. In name.
Alabama? No. Ohio State, maybe? Can you give me a conference?
If I actually answer that question, it would give it away.
No, it's Notre Dame. You did give it away. Nice try.
Second down and 8 for Nebraska. Again, it was Minnesota that called the timeout, saying Nebraska just running the football. And out to the 30-yard line is Cross. He's short of the first down. We'll see if Minnesota calls another timeout here.
Aflac.
Here's the answer. And our Aflac trivia question. Notre Dame, 241 consecutive sellouts.
I'm on a roll with the Aflac. A couple weeks in a row here.
Let's go back to what we were saying before we started the Aflac trivia question, and that's what's going on in Columbus right now. Obviously, the way TCU played against Kansas, Brian, last week, it hurt them in the eyes of the College Football Playoff Committee. Even if Ohio State wins, and even if they blow them out in the second half, how much do you weigh the first half when you come up with where you slot Ohio State this week?
Well, I think the way that obviously Florida State has played in the first half of games has affected them, but I don't think it affects them enough to knock them out of the top 4. We've seen that, and the committee's already made that kind of determination. But I fully expect Ohio State to put the foot on the gas pedal in the second half. And as long as you win these games, and at the end you look at, I'm not a big fan of the game control metric, and people try to put a metric to the eye test. But I think that when you look at these games and you look at how these kids play, they win the game, they win it convincingly. I don't think it matters a whole lot how they look in the first half.
Here's Abdullah, and he gets the first down. So Minnesota used its timeouts. Well, now Nebraska, as we get another injured Cornhusker, and it's Abdullah. And remember, he had a left knee injury a few weeks back against Purdue. Looked like Nebraska was going to get up, and now that they have some breathing room at the 35, maybe speed things up. Minnesota used its timeouts. The Huskers have 2 left. Again, they've lost Kenny Bell, Mark Pelini already. We haven't seen either return to the game, and now Abdullah shaken up. You can hear the applause probably coming through the microphone. Abdullah is up and
good news there is
walking to the sideline.
It's not that left knee. Sometimes those backs come down, and when somebody comes down on top of them when the ball is in their stomach, their wind gets knocked out.
Armstrong back to throw, and now steps up and runs. Got a lot of green in front of him, and he scoots out of play after getting the first down. A 12-yard run by Tommy Armstrong.
Well, now I bet Jerry Kill taking those 2 timeouts is rethinking. You know, you let Tommy Armstrong out of the pocket, and again, that's the 3rd time we've seen him get out of the pocket on pass plays. Minnesota needs to rush, but they also need to contain a lot better if they're going to stop this offense.
Terrell Newby is in for Abdullah. Armstrong unloads, and almost an interception by Buddy Calhoun, who's already picked off 4 passes. That was way over the head of Brandon Riley, the intended receiver.
And Armstrong very lucky that ball was not intercepted, because Buddy Calhoun knows what to do after he gets it. He would have taken this to the house potentially. Again, a high throw, and when you see Tommy Armstrong miss, especially when he has pressure in the pocket, he misses high, and dangerous throw.
Abdullah is back on the field for Nebraska for 2nd down and 10, inside a minute to go here in the half. Another pass play, Armstrong, and it's knocked down right at the 1st down marker. It was intended for Sam Cotton, the tight end, who's only caught 3 passes all year. Eric Murray, who's a good corner, a junior from Milwaukee. 2nd pass breakup today.
Nice job by Murray. Just at the last minute, they get the hands, take that hand and come through the hands of the receiver, and that ball will come out.
But now it's 3rd down and 10. Nebraska has been excellent on 3rd down today. And an official timeout here.
Previous play is under further review. The ruling on the field was an incomplete pass.
Not sure what they're looking at here. If there was too many players on the field, I mean, what else would you be looking at? Because clearly the ball hit the ground, but you can review whether there were 12 men on the defense.
I think he may be looking at whether he possessed that football before it was knocked out.
Now they're looking at how many bodies are on the field here for Minnesota.
At the further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed, incomplete pass.
And our guys in the truck are on the phone with the replay booth, who are saying that the reason, even though you heard him say ruling in the field is an incomplete pass, they were telling us that they were reviewing how many players are on the field for Minnesota. And he confirmed that there were 11 guys out there for Minnesota. So back to the game, 3rd and 10. Armstrong looking to run here. Got a lane. Got the 1st down. Being chased from behind and tackled inside the 40 at the 36. Clock will stop. Reset the chains. They still have 2 timeouts left. 42 seconds on the clock. An 18-yard run.
Think about using those timeouts or spike the football here. And spike it, but again, lack of lane integrity for Minnesota in their rush lanes. Botticelli on that last play, even though it's 3rd and 10, and they're going to take Botticelli out. He wants to have a conversation with him on the sideline. You have got to get those lanes and keep Tommy Armstrong in the pocket. He struggles to throw the football from the pocket, and so I'm not sure why. Take a look at this. Here's Botticelli on the right side of the screen. He's out of position. Leave that big a lane for a guy as good of an athlete as Tommy Armstrong is. He's going to make you pay.
So 2nd and 10. 40 seconds left and 2 timeouts to work with. Armstrong over the middle, incomplete. Tried to hit Westerkamp. Now it's 3rd and 10. And from here it would be about a 53 or 4 yard attempt. The kicker, Drew Brown, is a true freshman. His long is 44. His older brother Chris kicked at Nebraska and is in the NFL.
I'm a little bit surprised that Nebraska is not allowing Amir Abdullah to touch the football here and run it. Maybe an option. It's been all man-to-man coverage from Minnesota, which would be great. Run the option against.
And with timeouts too, they might run it here. No. Armstrong fires deep, and it's caught for a 1st down at the 15. The ball comes out though. It's recovered by Minnesota, scooped up by Travis, and he's tackled at the 35. That's the 2nd time that Pearson L has lost the ball. Now the 1st time the ball crossed the plane for a touchdown. This one though ruled a fumble.
I think it's Cedric Thompson, number 2, the safety, that comes up and gets a hand on the football. Great job there. You see this Minnesota defense, they forced 26 turnovers coming into this game, and a lot of it has to do with this secondary. Very experienced secondary and knows how to get their hand on the football. Great job by Cedric Thompson.
That's the 13th fumble recovery for Minnesota. Now the Gophers have the ball at their 35-yard line. They're out of timeouts, 21 seconds left. And again, their kicker, Santoso, he can make it from 55, so you'd think you have to get somewhere down around the 35, 40-yard line of Nebraska, but you're out of timeout, so it's got to be, if it's in the middle of the field, you got to get up there quickly and spike it, or it's got to be a pass to the sideline. And Leidner dumps it off here to Cobb into Nebraska territory, and he's tackled inbounds. Or did he get out? The official stopping the clock as they reset the chains, but no, he was inbounds.
Needed to get out.
Clock will start as soon as the referee signals ready for play. After the 23-yard run, they spike it. 10 seconds left.
Boy, we've seen some bad 2-minute defense here. The one fumble, obviously a great play by Thompson, but both teams, Minnesota giving up rush lanes to Tommy Armstrong, and then Nebraska in man-to-man coverage. Why? I have no idea. In this situation, you give Cobb an easy 25-yard gain.
10 seconds left, no timeouts. Leidner got an open man, but the pass underthrown. Boy, if he would have just led KJ May to the sideline, that's a catch. He would have gotten out of bounds with a couple of seconds left, and they would have had a 40-yard field goal attempt.
No question. That was a poor throw that resulted in 3 points off the board for Minnesota, because May was wide open. Perfect call to the sideline. Stopped the clock. There would have been 2 seconds left and an easy field goal.
You know, given Santoso's leg and the wind, I'm a little surprised they're not trying the field goal here.
Yeah.
4 seconds left. It would be a 60-yard attempt. And instead, it's a sack for Gregory. Number 1 today, number 7 on the year, and that ends the half.
I think the only reason they probably didn't try that field goal was they had a ball blocked and ran back for a touchdown. And it was this guy, Randy Gregory, that had an effect on both those plays.
Coach Pelini standing by now with Tom.
Well, Coach, you lost an opportunity there at the end of the quarter, but your team has executed the game well in the first 2 quarters here. What was your assessment?
Yeah, just like you said, I think it was we did some good things in the half. I wish we could have finished up that last drive. I thought we did exactly what we wanted to do in the last drive. We just put the ball on the ground.
Do you have any status on the injuries on anybody returning in the second half yet?
No, not yet. I'll find out when we go in.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
You see that graphic there? It's what we talked about at the Open. And Bo told us yesterday he has no doubt that his team will respond after getting blown out by Wisconsin. They've done it every time they've lost under Coach Pelini. And they're doing it today with a 2-touchdown lead at the half. Lexus halftime report with Reese, Lou, and Mark.
Minnesota and Nebraska.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by Cars.com. Nebraska on top of Minnesota 21-7 as we get ready to start the third quarter here in Lincoln on Senior Day. Back with Brian Greasy, I'm Dave Pash. We were wondering how Nebraska would respond after getting not only blown out in Madison, but embarrassed on defense. And good first half for Nebraska all the way around.
So far, so good. Really, you're judged by how many points you give up. Only 7 points given up. They did give up some yards on the ground. But I think they've contained this Minnesota offense pretty well in the first half. But really, the difference in the ball game so far has been that block kick in return for a touchdown. And when Randy Gregory goes up and gets that block, you know, I think that changed the outcome of the first half.
That's our Mitsubishi drive recap. Looked like Minnesota was going to kick a field goal to make it 14-10, but Randy Gregory shaken up earlier with his second block of the season. And then it's returned for a touchdown by Nate Gary.
It was funny. It's Corey Cooper right there had a chance, number 6, to be the hero, but give him credit. He gets back in front. Watch number 6 come and get a great block on Max Williams right there. Gets a pancake, and Gary gets in the end zone. That was the momentum-changing play of the first half.
You mentioned that Gregory was shaken up and came back into the game. There are 2 players that were hurt on Nebraska's offense that will not return. Mark Pelini, the starting center, hurt on the opening play from scrimmage for Nebraska. Kenny Bell on a long pass that set up a touchdown for Nebraska on the first series. He was injured. He won't be back. Alonzo Moore was hurt as well, the sophomore, but he's expected back. Nebraska will get the ball to start the third quarter. Demornay Pearson-El, who had a fumble at the end of the first half that was recovered by Minnesota. He's the deep man, but it'll be a touchback. Let's check in with Tom Luganbill.
Yeah, well, guys, when you take a look at this offense, and for Tommy Armstrong, when he's going to come out right now, and all the plays that he has made have been broken plays, second reaction throws where he's been able to evade the rush, escape the pocket, keep his eyes downfield, and make plays. Now, Tracy Clay is a defensive coordinator at Minnesota. It's high risk, high reward when you want to come close to the line of scrimmage, play man-to-man. They've got to force Tommy Armstrong to throw from within the pocket where he will rush throws, where his mechanics struggle, and where the ball sails high on him.
151 passing yards, had only 62 last week in the loss at Wisconsin. Gonna throw here? No, he's not. He is nailed by Damian Wilson for a sack at the 21.
I think the problem for Minnesota is they want to play man-to-man coverage. Here's Damian Wilson. He's just going to come around. He's going to read. Nowhere to go with the football. Good man-to-man coverage, and there's nobody left. Minnesota played a lot of zero coverage, no safety in the middle of the field last week, Dave, against Ohio State, and they got burned a couple of times by J.T. Barrett. I haven't seen him play a whole lot of it yet in this game, but first snap, they go after him.
Abdullah wrapped up in the backfield by Campbell and Botticelli. Abdullah did not get a lot of touches in the first half. 9 carries, 31 yards, and a touchdown. 3rd down and 14 now for Nebraska.
And I think it's natural for Tracy Claeys to want to be aggressive and come after an offense like this. It's not real explosive in the passing game.
Do you go cover 0 here?
Not me, not on 3rd and 14.
They do bring pressure off the edge, and Armstrong in trouble and sacked again. Back at the 9-yard line. Michael Amefalo got there for Minnesota. Campbell back there as well, and Nebraska goes 3 and out in this first series of the second half.
Well, Devondre Campbell, we haven't called his name a whole lot from that linebacker position, but look at the size, 6'5", 240 pounds, and in 3rd down situations, they will bring him to the edge. An outstanding pass rusher, been a really good player in this defense for Tracy Claeys this season, and a lot of young talent on that defensive line for Minnesota.
They did bring 6 that time after the quarterback, as the punt was nearly blocked. It's a line drive fielded at the 45. Slipping a tackle at the 40-yard line, Craig James, and he is to the 35. So it works out well for Minnesota to start the second half. They get a 3 and out. They almost blocked the punt, and after a 36-yard kick, a 10-yard return.
I don't understand those rugby-style kicks. I don't know. I'm a traditionalist, I guess, but you roll to one side of the formation and you put yourself at risk. Lucky that ball was not blocked. And you're right. Couldn't have been a better start in the second half for Jerry Kill in Minnesota.
David Cobb had a couple catches, also 12 carries. Mitch Leidner with his 13th carry. Both quarterbacks the leading rushers for their respective teams in the first half. And Leidner gets about 7 or 8 there at 1st and 10.
And we have not called Max Williams' name. Only 1 catch so far in this game. But Minnesota, and especially in short yardage situations where you have a down you can burn on 2nd and short in the red zone fringe, you might want to take a shot with him.
They motion him here on 2nd and 3. Run play Cobb. Met at the point of attack, but tough to arm tackle. He had a safety, Byerson Cockrell, giving up about 40 pounds, and he had no shot to get David Cobb down.
We mentioned it. He's low to the ground, 5'11", 220 pounds, and he is not afraid of contact. And yards after carry, 705 coming into this game. That's over half of the total yards that he has.
Most running backs in the country don't have that for a total. He's got that after being hit. So 1st down inside the 25 of Nebraska. Cobb trying to find a hole again. Contact, and he moves the pile. He got hit at the line of scrimmage, got rid of that defender, and picked up 8 yards, and it took 3 guys to get him down.
Well, you talk about what's the best quality of David Cobb. You talk to Jerry Kill, he says patience. Take a look. Waits, finds the hole, and then creases the defense. We saw him do it last week several times against Ohio State. Done it all year. That serves you well at the next level, Dave.
Yeah, he hit $145, 3 touchdowns against Ohio State's defense last week. 2nd down and 3. Cobb, big hole, big touchdown. David Cobb, untouched that time. His 12th rushing touchdown, and he's shaken up. We shouldn't be surprised. It seemed like every time there's a big play, there's an injury.
Well, he's grabbing for that hamstring. That's one guy that Minnesota cannot afford to lose if they're going to come back from this 2-touchdown deficit in the second half.
12 rushing scores for David Cobb.
Remember, Berkeley Edwards, their backup running back, is already out of this game with an apparent head injury.
80 yards now for Cobb, so he needs 35 more to pass Lawrence Marody for the single-season school record for rushing yards. But obviously his return is in question after hobbling following this touchdown run between the tackles where nobody even laid a finger on him.
AT&T brings you inside the headset, and there's a little voice in Kevin Wilson of Indiana's headset that says give the ball to Tevin Coleman. And against number 6 Ohio State, the longest run the Buckeyes have allowed since 1960, a 90-yarder for the nation's second leading rusher. And look what's happening in Columbus. The Hoosiers winless in the Big Ten, up by 6.
Now, we talked about the fact that David Cobb is not a finalist for the Doak Walker, semifinalist for the Doak Walker Award. There are a couple of Big Ten backs that are, though, 3 of them actually. Abdullah, Melvin Gordon, and Tevin Coleman, who just had that 90-yard touchdown run.
There's no question that the best bevy of backs in all of college football are in the Big Ten. I don't care, Pac-12, SEC, from a collection standpoint, the Big Ten is unmatched.
Saw Cobb on the bike there. Can Ohio State lose at home to Indiana? The Buckeyes have Michigan at home. They control their own destiny for a Big Ten title appearance. And just listening today to the guys on game day talking to you and Lou, sounds like a lot of people think that Ohio State, if it wins out because it will be a conference champion, would end up making the 14 playoff.
Let's go back and take a look at that touchdown. Great blocking up front. Epping, the left guard. Take a look right here. He gets that block right there on second level. You got Goodger there that gets a great block. And look at that lane. You give that much space to a guy like David Cobb. I have no idea where the safety Nate Gary was going. But at the end, you see him kind of limping a little bit at the end. On the sideline, he's been trying to work it out. Once you get that hamstring, it gets tight very hard, especially for a guy, running back, receiver, somebody that's running a lot. Very hard to get back to 100%.
Seems like every big play we've had, there's been an injury to a key guy on both teams. Here's Abdullah, big hole for him in the Minnesota territory and thrown out of bounds. Great blocking by Nebraska up front, and it springs Abdullah for a 29-yard run.
We talked about the loss of Mark Pelini. That's Ryan Reeves. Look at him reach. He gets a great reach block on Steve Richardson. Richardson's just a true freshman. We wondered how Pelini and that would affect this offense. Reeves has stepped up.
And Abdullah again. This time tackled by Devondre Campbell after a short pickup. Amir Abdullah closing in on 1,400 yards. He is 9th in the country. Team captain. Got 4 200-yard games on the season. Wasn't healthy, wasn't 100% anyway last week against Wisconsin. But he's been practicing despite that left knee problem. Practice going into the week of the Badger game. Here's his backup, Amani Cross. And he is across the first down marker to the 31. A 12-yard gain for the junior tailback who had a 100-yard game against Illinois earlier this year.
Oh, and this offensive line is coming off in this first drive. Getting to the second level, all the linebackers, that Jack Lynn, Damian Wilson, they are getting covered up. You need your defensive front to protect your linebackers, and so far the second half. Minnesota struggling.
Cross again. Another hole. And a nice play from behind at the 22 by Eric Murray. Otherwise, it might have been a touchdown for Amani Cross.
And you look at Damian Wilson, their leading tackler, number 5, right in the middle of the defense. He doesn't look like he's healthy. He's just kind of running the darkness to get blocked. You got to fight off blockers, read the back, cut back, play north and south from that linebacker position. He's on skates right now.
8-yard pickup for Cross. He'll stay in here for 2nd and 2 and get the carry again. And able to power close to the first down marker at the 21. Campbell on the stop. Looks like it's enough to move the chains. Abdullah back on the field, and Cross at 6'1", 230, a junior from Gainesville, Georgia. See his season numbers. He'll head to the sideline. First down, Cornhuskers. They'll keep it on the ground here with Abdullah on the cutback. Reaches the 19-yard line. There's Damian Wilson making a play. 2-yard pickup for Abdullah. 2nd down and 8.
You know, this defense is set up for their linebackers to run free and make plays. And if they're not doing that, you saw what happened on the last 4 plays. But when Wilson shoots the gap and they take the safety out of the middle of the field to allow him to do that, he can get into the backfield.
Abdullah inside the 15, stood up and driven back at the 13-yard line. Another big hit by Eric Murray. So it's 3rd down. All running plays on this drive for Nebraska. So obviously they want to try to establish the ground game.
Physical game, hasn't it? All these injuries and hard-hitting game.
3rd down and 2. Smash mouth here. Cross. And trying to fall forward. He'll come up short. It's 4th down. Travis made the stick. We'll see if Pelini takes the points here.
The way they've been running the ball on this drive, Dave, I don't think there's any reason why you wouldn't just keep running it. You got big holes to run through. Plus, you establish an attitude this second half. But they're going to kick it.
They want to get something out of this drive. So here's Drew Brown. All run plays on that possession. Be a 30-yard attempt for Brown. The difference so far in this game, a blocked field goal by Nebraska that was returned for a touchdown. And Brown puts it through to make it a 10-point lead midway through the 3rd quarter. Saw a lot of Tommy Armstrong throwing the football in the first half, but he didn't throw it at all on that drive. They run down the field and get 3.
ESPN College Football is brought to you by Farmers. Get smarter at farmers.com. And Dr. Pepper, always one of a kind.
Welcome inside the Nebraska Experience Room. Shots of the 3 Heisman Trophy winners, Johnny Rodgers in '72, Mike Rozier in 1983, and Eric Crouch in 2001. Amir Abdullah won't win the Heisman, but what a career he's had. As you look at the company he's in, top 3 all-purpose yardage in Big Ten history. 2-time Heisman Trophy winner and a Heisman winner in Ron Dane.
Not bad for a guy that a lot of people said in the state of Alabama couldn't play running back, right? Wanted him to play defense, corner. Said, no, I want to go up to Nebraska with it and let me play running back.
He's from Homewood, Alabama. Short kickoff fielded at the 8-yard line by Myrick. And he is hit at the 26-yard line. Minnesota will start there. David Cobb injured on the touchdown run. So he will not be in the ball game here for the Gophers. They're working on that left leg.
And they're going to go with Donnell Kirkwood, the 5th-year senior. He only has 19 carries this season. It's been a one-man show, and David Cobb, and then he's been spelled normally by Berkeley Edwards, but Berkeley Edwards had an apparent head injury in the first quarter, and he's on the sideline.
Leidner's run it 13 times for the quarterback position. Kirkwood, and he's to the 31-yard line, so about 4 there.
Well, what you maintain in this offense's run game with Kirkwood is at least a forward lean, the ability to push the pile. Not going to get as much shank, not going to get a lot of breakaway runs. The real dagger here, guys, is not having Berkeley Edwards. He's the jet. He's their guy that can change the pace and can make people miss. Without that, they're going to be relegated to between the tackles plays here, and then maybe some perimeter stuff with KJ Mayer.
You've got to also expect more runs from Leidner, too. And here it is off the right side. Headed for the sideline and pushed out short of the first down by Nate Gary. A gain of about 4. So a third down here for Minnesota.
Well, they do have one other back in Roderick Williams, who's got 19 carries on the year. He's a big back, more a short yardage back at 250 pounds. But you're right, a lot more pressure now on number 7, Mitch Leidner. There's Williams.
They have missed on their last 4 third down tries, 2 for 7 on the day. They'll bring May in motion and fake it to him. Leidner rolling out and throws complete. Max Williams on the catch. What a great pass by Leidner to the 45 of Nebraska with Randy Gregory right in his face, 20 yards.
Yeah, and with one of the best rushers in college football come bearing down on you. Look at this throw. He's got to throw it over the linebacker. Dangerous throw. If you come out flat with that ball at all, it's an interception. Great job by Mitch Leidner. I think you see your star tailback David Cobb go down and you realize now I got to make some plays. I got to take a little bit more risk in this second half, and good throw.
Here's Kirkwood. He didn't get much. You know what I also liked about that previous play? Max Williams. He knew he was going to get out of bounds. He waited for a defender to come just so he could get a shot in. Tough kid, and great story. When they recruited him, his parents both played sports at Minnesota. Dad was a football player. They thought it was kind of a nice story. Hey, we're doing, a good thing for the family.
Hometown kid.
And it turns out that he really improved, gained a lot of weight, was a quarterback, some in high school, and now he's become one of the best tight ends in the country. 2nd and 7, and good play by Nebraska, reading that well. So a short gain as McMullen takes down Kirkwood.
Yeah, and talking with Matt Limegrove, the offensive coordinator, so Max was on the scout team for a year and a half, and the defensive coaches kept telling us, hey man, we can't guard this guy down on the scout team. And so Limegrove brought him over and said he has tremendous ability to adjust his body and great hands in the air. We've seen a multitude of acrobatic catches from him this season, and they might target him here on 3rd down as well.
They got him detached from the line on 3rd down and 5. Here comes a blitz off the edge. Leidner gets rid of it, complete to May. 1st down inside the 30-yard line. Another good throw by Mitch Leidner.
Stand in there and throw. You get Max Williams this time as a decoy. Take a look. He's going to run off. You bring May right underneath. You turn the head of the linebacker Anderson, and then take a look in the pocket, poise, stand tall, and bring May right underneath the vacated area where Max Williams took the linebacker.
So after 4 straight 3rd downs where they couldn't convert, they've converted on the last 2. Roderick Williams is in the game now at running back. Leidner will keep it though. And down he goes at the 23. Gary with a good tackle. Still gain of 5 or 6 there for the quarterback. Inside 4 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter. Nebraska leading by 10. A Cornhusker win would end Minnesota's hopes of a Big Ten West title. Nebraska would still have to win at Iowa and get help. Wisconsin would have to lose twice. And Ohio State in trouble. The Buckeyes, they clinch with a win against Indiana or Michigan State loss. They were to lose today at Indiana. Obviously, their playoff hopes would be gone. They'd have to beat Michigan next week just to make the Big Ten championship game. Here's Williams trying to push the pile. He'll come up short of the 1st down. So a 3rd and about 2 at the Nebraska 20 with Cobb still on the Minnesota sideline.
Yeah, and so it looks like it's going to be a little bit of a committee between Kirkwood and Williams here. Like we said, when Williams comes in the game, 5'11", 250 pounds. I don't think there's anybody else you would want in the game here in 3rd and short situation, would you?
No. They just converted the last 2 3rd downs throwing the football. We'll see what we get here. Williams hit and falls forward for a yard, but he's short. Do you take points? You assume you get points. It's about 36 yards and make it a one-possession game.
Yeah, your best player's on the sideline, though. You know, I don't know how much offense Jerry Kill thinks he can reliably get in the second half with your best player on the sideline. I wouldn't be surprised with a big back at 250 whether he goes for it right here.
Well, the offense is on the field for 4th down and 1. They're 6 of 7 on 4th down this year.
And I'd run this ball right at number 4, Randy Gregory. They're stout at defensive tackle on the inside with Malik Collins. You might want to think it over.
Timeout by Minnesota. We'll see if Jerry Kill changes his mind during the break.
Reese Davis with you, updating Indiana, Ohio State. Buckeyes had the Hoosiers backed up in their own end. Made him punt it to the freshman Jalen Marshall, and he's got a seam. Marshall houses the punt return, and deep in the third quarter, Buckeyes have taken a 21-20 lead, and they're driving now at the 40 of Indiana.
All right, Reese, and don't forget today, another game impacting the playoffs with Florida State still unbeaten, but people don't seem convinced that they can repeat, at least not yet. They've got Boston College at 3:30 ABC or ESPN2. Meanwhile, Minnesota with a 4th down and 1, trailing by 10 inside 2 minutes to go here in the third. And David Cobb, one of the top backs in the country, is out with an injury. And Williams with an easy 1st down, going for the touchdown, and he is in. Touchdown, Gophers. Roderick Williams wasn't touched till he was at the 3-yard line. A 19-yard score. What happened there, says Bo Pelini?
Well, it looked a lot like it did a week ago against Wisconsin and Melvin Gordon. Little miscommunication from the secondary on the perimeter. They lose contain. How many times did that happen against Melvin Gordon? And even though the big man, 250 pounds, Roderick Williams, is no Melvin Gordon, he can make that into a touchdown.
So it's a 3-point game after Santoso gets the extra point.
Take a look at the perimeter, Dave. When you look at this, obviously you think it's going to go inside, but look at these guys, all these defenders out here. Once he bounces in here and then gets to the outside, they lose contain. 2 guys actually run into each other there. That's Cooper, the safety, and then Gary's out of position late to the party, and Roderick Williams makes him pay. Looked like that was Ryerson Cockrell.
Sorry, Grease, but how does this keep happening? I mean, you know they talked about it. You know they went through it in film study and they practiced it. I mean, how does it keep happening? We've seen it 2 or 3 times today.
Well, I think first thing is you have 4th down situations. Everybody thinks you're going to run in between the 2 guards, and so they're all filling in between the guards. You know, you want to get that emotional stop on 4th down. It changes the complexion of the game. Problem is you have to have a safety there, a safety valve on the back end as well as on the perimeter that keeps you safe, and they just didn't have it there.
Kickoff sails through the back of the end zone. It will come out to the 25 for Nebraska. Well, Tuesday night, 7 o'clock on ESPN, the selection committee's latest rankings are revealed. Find out who's in the college football playoff top 25 ranking show presented by Chick-fil-A Tuesday at 7 on ESPN. You mentioned Ohio State playing Indiana with a 1-point lead right now. Florida State, Boston College later today. Oregon's got Colorado today. All the SEC schools, or most of them anyway, are not playing big games. You got Missouri, Tennessee. That won't impact the playoff necessarily, but it does impact the SEC East. Missouri trying to get into the SEC championship. They play in Knoxville on ESPN tonight. Amir Abdullah gets the carry on 1st down and 10, a big hole across the 35. 1st down, a gain of 11 before Travis gets into the ground.
And take a look, this Nebraska offense is, they've hit their stride. Blocking, that is up front. They're getting on that second level. You see offensive linemen downfield getting blocks on linebackers. You got tight ends. That's Carter getting downfield, getting blocks on safeties. If Minnesota just pulled this to a 3-point game, if they're going to win this in the end, they've got to figure out how to get some pressure in the backfield on this Nebraska offense.
So 82 yards for Amir Abdullah in the game. And he's over 1,400 on the year. And he gets 4 more on this carry, brought down by Amefala. He comes in to this game needing about 500 yards to pass Mike Rozier for the all-time rushing lead in Nebraska. That's unlikely to happen with at least 2 games left, probably 3. Second down and 5. Abdullah, he gets drilled at the line of scrimmage by Devondre Campbell. You saw Campbell's hair go flying as he went in there and met Abdullah in the hole, and there's another injured Nebraska player. There's an offensive lineman. It was Zach Stirrup, the right tackle, but he jumped to his feet and wants to stay in the game.
The second half, as this third quarter winds down to an end, these Nebraska players, and specifically these seniors, 1 quarter left in their career to play at this Memorial Stadium in a close game against Minnesota. Has been physical all day. Which team will be more physical to close out the fourth quarter?
24-21 after 3. Nebraska by 3. The crosstown rivalry heats up tonight on ABC as USC and UCLA do battle on Saturday Night Football, 8 Eastern on ABC. Well, today's game here in Lincoln, all about injuries. David Cobb on a touchdown run shaken up. Kenny Bell on a long pass, the longest reception of the season for Nebraska. He's out. Mark Pelini on the first play from scrimmage for Nebraska gets hurt. He's out. Randy Gregory was shaken up in the first half for the Cornhuskers. He returned to block a field goal that was returned for a touchdown, which is the difference in the game right now. Nebraska by 3 as we start the 4th. Little option gain here. Armstrong will keep and slam down at the 40-yard line by Damian Wilson.
No, guys, we didn't see it right there, but on that drive, when we're starting to see this Nebraska offense with quarterback Tommy Armstrong under center, what they're doing is what's called a check with me philosophy, where you have a key, and that key may be to run to the shaded nose. So the one technique, because you want the center to reach that guy. So he just gets up to the line of scrimmage. He's counting numbers. He's going to where the shade is, and he checks it at the line of scrimmage. Could go to one side or the other.
Yeah, Lugs, and Ryan Reeves, the backup center, is doing a great job reaching.
But on that play, Nebraska got nothing on 3rd and 6. Now a short kick and the fair catch made by James at the 27. Let's check in with Reese.
Ohio State finished off that drive, gentlemen. Again, it's Jalen Marshall. J.T. Barrett will give him the little shovel pass. That'll pad Barrett's stats with a touchdown pass as Marshall goes in. Still a 1-possession game. 13 minutes to go. The Buckeyes have reassumed the lead, 28-20.
And Reese, here are the college football playoff rankings brought to you by Chick-fil-A. TCU beat Kansas, but the fact they struggled in that game dropped them a spot. Ohio State up 8. If the Buckeyes hang on and win, the fact that they didn't blow them out, well, they drop in the latest ranking.
Yeah, and Baylor still has Kansas State, who had a big win over West Virginia Thursday night.
Minnesota can tie or take the lead on this possession. Leidner keeping and making it to the 34-yard line. Corey Cooper gets him down, but that's 7 yards on 1st and 10 running the football with the quarterback.
Well, let's go back. That last defensive possession for Minnesota, that was a big stop there, because Nebraska had momentum and they were starting to run the ball really well, but somehow Minnesota gets off the field and now they get the football back only down 3, and then the momentum's in their favor.
Donnell Kirkwood is in for the injured David Cobb, but Leidner keeping, and there's a breakdown in the secondary again off the right side of the formation. 15-yard run. And again, I ask, how does this keep happening if you're Nebraska?
Well, we showed earlier in the game the replay of Mitchell when playing against Melvin Gordon last week. You got to keep contained. Containment. And you think you're in contain because you're shuffling down the line of scrimmage, but you're underestimating the speed of Mitch Leidner. And that's a senior right there playing his last game at home, making a mental mistake.
So here they do it again. Here it is. This time they made him cut back. Brought down at the 48. Nate Gary forced him back to the inside. A 3-yard gain.
And that time they took the decision completely out of Josh Mitchell's hands. They fire him on the quarterback. All he has responsibility to knife in and take the running back, and then they scrape the linebacker over top on Leitner. What that is Bo Pelini and John Papuchis taking the decision out of the equation, because obviously this secondary on repeated occasions has had trouble making the right decision in the run game.
Leitner with a 100-yard rushing game. And again, a lot more on his shoulders with David Cobb likely done for the day. 2nd down and 7. The play clock down to 1. Leitner off play action, looking downfield and into double coverage, and it is caught, and then the ball comes out. Incomplete. Frichte had it, and it came out at the last second. Mitchell and Gary were closing on the Minnesota wide receiver.
Frichte went up, had a great acrobatic move to go up and get his hands on the ball, and then when he went to bring the ball down, great effort there by Gary. Got his hands in there and ripped that football out.
You got to complete the catch. The question is, was he down? Did he complete the catch and then the ball was ripped out once he was down?
I don't think he completed that catch, but he did not control that ball to the ground. I think that was a good incomplete pass.
3rd down and 7. Leitner throwing, and way behind the intended receiver, KJ May. So it's 4th down.
You know, Matt Limegrover decides to be aggressive, and I can't fault him. You take a shot downfield, you almost come up with that big play to take the lead in the game. The problem is if you don't complete that, you're in 3rd and 8, and that's not a situation where Matt Leitner feels real comfortable reading defenses and throwing the ball accurately enough to convert.
De'Mornay Pearsonell, a dangerous return man, but he's also had some trouble. He's muffed a punt. He's fumbled the ball today. And he's got this one at the 13-yard line. So Nebraska ball, 3-point lead, early 4th quarter, as we send you to break with this look at the Frichte incompletion. How to maintain possession to the ground? He did not.
Welcome back to Lincoln. Nebraska offense would love to start grinding out on the ground. Look at Ryan Reeves. He's in for the injured Mark Pelini. They're running these plays to the one technique, as Tom told you, and you need to reach from a center to get to that one technique, that nose guard. And Ryan Reeves has done an excellent job of filling in for Mark Pelini. There's Mark on the sideline. You feel for a player like this that waits their turn to finally play and to start for the Nebraska offensive line as a senior, and on senior day in the 2nd half, he's not able to be out there.
Especially when they're letting the big guys eat here. They have not thrown the ball yet this half. All running plays. Here it is again. Abdullah right side, push back. Devondre Campbell there first. So no gain on the play. Nebraska with a 3-point lead, early 4th quarter.
And that's fine if you want to come out and just run the football. The problem is when you get in late in the 4th quarter and you get behind in the down and distance and you get 3rd and 7+, and you ask your quarterback to throw the ball, he has no rhythm whatsoever.
They tried to throw the ball a couple times, but there was coverage downfield because guys aren't getting open. There's Kenny Bell, their best receiver. He has not played since the first series after getting injured on a big catch. Stretch play, Abdullah, and again, not a lot of running room. Botticelli gets him down after a 1-yard pickup, so here's your 3rd and long. You were making mention of.
Tracy Clay is defensive coordinator for Minnesota, said, wow, if you guys are just going to run the ball, I'm going to put 9 guys up, not 8, 9. I'm going to put them up there, and I'm not going to let you run the football. And so now 3rd and 9, you better hope that Tommy Armstrong's been warming up on the sideline because he hasn't thrown a pass yet.
Westerkamp, you would think, would be the target here. 4 catches, 32 yards. He's their number 2 receiver. And he's got him singled up against Eric Murray here. It's a quarterback run. Armstrong gets a block and has the 1st down. All the way to the 34-yard line.
Great patience there by Tommy Armstrong. Wasn't there initially. Damian Wilson was in position. But again, take a look at the center getting a block. That's Ryan Reeves. He's going to release up the field, and then that little bit of a hesitation from Armstrong brings Damian Wilson to Reeves for the block.
Now Armstrong will throw, and he has a completion. A sliding catch by Westerkamp to the 50, a 15-yard gain. The first pass throw of the second half by the Cornhuskers.
And when you can run the football, then all of a sudden play action, you see Damian Wilson, Travis, the safety, coming up to try to stop the run. And anytime they want to throw the football off play action, it's going to be there.
Abdullah breaks an untackled attempt near the first down at the 40-yard line. Nebraska just leaning on Minnesota right now, looking to extend the lead on this possession.
Well, now they're getting the receivers involved. Brandon Riley, watch number 87, comes in and gets that block right at the last minute on Travis. Very well done. Love to see wide receivers blocking on the perimeter. And Brandon Riley, he's not going to get a whole lot of targets. Not going to catch a whole lot of balls. He only has one this season. And he can contribute in other ways.
Abdullah 3 yards shy of 100 on the day. Play fake here. Armstrong in trouble. Sacked at the 48-yard line. Aaron Cochran with the 3rd sack of the season. And if Cochran didn't get him, somebody else was, because that pocket collapsed around the quarterback.
Yeah, and I think, you know, if you hear the Nebraska fans here, you're running the football, you got some momentum, and then you want to take a big, deep shot downfield, and now you're back to 3rd and 9 again, 3rd and 8.
We saw a quarterback draw on the last 3rd and long. 4-man rush. Armstrong going to go deep, single coverage, incomplete. Pearsonell, the intended receiver, at a safety. Travis running with him. It's 4th down and 8. Nebraska will have to punt the ball.
Yeah, Tommy Armstrong didn't have enough time to throw this football. You're going to see a little stunt right here, and the right tackle and the right guard. Yeah, he just knocked him off the ball, and Tommy Armstrong had to throw that ball way before he wanted to.
Minnesota's been close to blocking a Nebraska punt on 2 occasions. Sam Foltz to kick here, and the Gophers will set up the return. Kick is high, and it takes a Minnesota hop into the end zone for a touchback. So the Golden Gophers down 3, playing without their best player, David Cobb, will have the football with a chance to tie or take the lead on this possession.
ESPN College Football is presented by Cars.com. All drive, no drama. And in part by Lexus. Introducing the first ever 306 horsepower RC Coupe from Lexus.
Senior day for 13 Cornhuskers, including Amir Abdullah, one of the best running backs in school history, and Kenny Bell, all-time leader in catches and receiving yards. But Bell's senior day ended on the first series. Was injured on a long reception, which was the biggest pass play of the season for Nebraska. And you wonder, with this kind of an injury here, you see the head hit the turf and was woozy as he tried to get back to the sideline. You wonder if he'll be back for the Iowa game next Friday in the regular season finale. Meanwhile, Minnesota with the football on its 20-yard line, trailing by 3 midway through the 4th quarter. The Golden Gophers control their own destiny to the Big Ten title game. Win today, win in Madison. Obviously, tall order in both occasions, but not impossible. Leidner got drilled. The ball came out, but it was recovered by Minnesota. Oh, Leidner got hammered by Zaire Anderson. And Zach Epping, the left guard, recovered the fumble. They actually gained 5 yards.
Very fortunate bounce for Minnesota. This ball hat right on the ball. Great by Anderson. The ball goes right to Epping, picks it up out of the air. And like you said, he got a 5-yard gain.
Might have actually been stripped before the hit. See, I think it was out before the hit by Anderson. 2nd down and 5 as it is. They bring May in motion, hand it off to him. And he's across the 30 and has the first down. Let's go to Reese in the studio.
All right, guys, we're going to get you up to date on the game. Harvard and Yale, a 10-7 game. Crimson on the move. Reach into the trickeration bag. Saitu Smith to Andrew Fisher. It would be a score for the Crimson, and they just got a 90-yard pick 6. And Harvard can win the Ivy outright if they can hang on to that 17-point lead in the 4th.
Kind of cool to see game day there today, Reese. By the way, that was Donovan Jones on the carry on the last play, and he looked shaken up afterwards. It is a first down, though, for Minnesota. Play fake. Leidner in trouble. Being chased and throws it away. Incomplete. Second down. Drew Goodger, tight end, actually had a chance at it. Malik Collins was pressuring the quarterback that time.
Yeah, Nebraska's been able to get some consistent pressure when Minnesota does try to go play action. And I think Jerry Kill is upset. He thought he had pass interference there, but I think it was just a throwaway from Mitch Leidner, which is a good play on first down. Nothing was there. Trying to get the ball downfield to Max Williams, a good coverage.
You know, he's not making the mistakes that he did last week against Ohio State. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, he forced 2 balls and had 2 interceptions in that game and didn't give him a chance to come back.
2nd and 10. He'll keep, and again they have contained. That forces him back inside, and he gets still 4 yards. Nate Gary on the stop. They keep trying that right side.
Why not? Why not? I mean, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Nebraska's been vulnerable that time. 2 guys on the outside. Josh Mitchell probably has had an earful on the sideline from Bo Pelini, John Papuchis. They are not going to get beat with perimeter runs in the 4th quarter.
3rd down and 6. Six and a half remaining.
Where's Donovan Jones? Well, he hasn't caught a ball yet today.
Well, we saw the handoff on the end around. Looked like he was shaken up, but he's back out there now. Play fake. Leidner looking the other way. Single coverage, and May is there. Makes the catch and hangs on. What a grab by K.J. May with Daniel Davey all over him inside the 30.
4th quarter of a 3-point game. The Big Ten title opportunity on the line, and you throw the ball up top to K.J. May, who's been primarily a running back for you all year, and they double cover Donovan Jones, and so Mitch Leidner, give him credit, he finds the one-on-one, the single on May. He makes the throw, and May makes a great catch.
38-yard pass play. Ball at the Nebraska 25. Leidner keeps. Runs into a teammate and then swarmed after a short gain. The ball comes out. It was taken away by Trevor Roach of Nebraska, but they ruled it forward progress. It stopped.
That was close. Roach came in to the pile. Leidner seemed like he was fighting for extra yardage, and Roach comes in on the side, number 43. There he comes into the pile right there, and he rips it pretty clean. The question is, when did that whistle blow?
Forward progress looked like it was stopped. Greg McMullen is shaken up on the play for Nebraska. I think forward progress is done there.
Going backwards, yeah.
McMullen, sophomore from Akron, Ohio. Now up and walking toward the sideline. And again, they can't review whether forward progress is stopped. You can review whether forward progress gets you a first down, but you can't review when it's stopped.
Right.
And so it's not a reviewable play. Was close, though. So a gain of 2, 2nd and 8 at the 23. Pretty impressive by Minnesota without David Cobb, their best player.
Yeah. And really, it's been Leidner that has picked up the slack, both running the football and making some critical throws downfield.
Although Roderick Williams did have that touchdown on 4th down. They bring May in motion. Leidner rolling out and dumps it off inside the 20. Williams, and he lunges for the first down and has it. Great effort that time by the tight end Max Williams.
Guys, a few plays back on that long throw down the sideline to K.J. May, just standing up close and personal with Bo Pelini here. He was all over Daniel Davey, the corner, number 23, essentially saying, what do you not understand about maintaining your outside leverage? He wanted inside safety help to take away that deep route, and he let the receiver get outside of him all over Daniel Davey as Bo Pelini.
All due respect, I thought Davey was in pretty good position.
Big hole up the middle, and down to the 5-yard line is Donnell Kirkwood. He's short of the first down. It'll be 2nd down and a yard. I don't know what else Daniel Davey could have done.
I mean, that throw was perfect. Stride for stride. That's, I mean, you give up a big play and the coach gets frustrated. It's a big play in the game, but you can't fault Daniel Davey. He was in good spot there.
Guys, I think a lot of that had to do with him being in the wrong call. That wasn't what they called. That's why he was upset. They knew they'd have safety help over the top if they forced the receiver inside. You're right, from a man inside technique, it was excellent coverage.
All right, Tommy, second down. And close to the first down is Kirkwood. See where they spot the ball here. We're inside 4 minutes to go. Malik Collins on the stop, and he did get the first down. It'll be first and goal from the 3.
I'll tell you what's impressive this drive is the control that Minnesota has. They're not in a hurry. They're calling the right plays. They've got a good tempo going. They're making the right decisions. They're making the big plays on third down. And Mitch Leidner's making the right decision. Dump the ball off to Max Williams. It's not a sexy play, but it's a 6-7 yard gain. It keeps you on schedule.
Leidner going to keep. Leidner fighting. He's in. It's a touchdown for Minnesota. And the Gophers have the lead.
And he ran right over Nate Gary, the safety. 240 pounds of Mitch Leidner. He was not going to be denied. Nose for the end zone.
What a game for Mitch Leidner. 115 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. Had a great pass to KJ May on that possession. That's got to be really encouraging for Jerry Kill to see your sophomore quarterback come back from a disappointing game last week where he throws 2 picks against Ohio State, goes on the road and plays one of his best games of the season. And Minnesota has a 4-point lead.
And a fierce competitor. That's what Jerry Kill loves about Mitch Leidner. He knew on the road against a good Nebraska team that he was going to come up big.
Reese Davis with you. Time for the Goodyear Superior Performance. Didn't take long for Oklahoma's Samaje Perine to turn in a superior performance. More than 200 yards in the first half against Kansas and 3 touchdowns. Weather delayed the game for about an hour and a half, and Oklahoma wasted no time putting a whipping on Kansas. 24-0. They're about to go to the break.
And here, Reese, Nebraska has blown a 21-7 lead. Minnesota on top. And coming up 3:30 on ABC or ESPN2, number 3 Florida State takes on Boston College. BC knocked off Southern Cal earlier this year. Can the Eagles beat the Seminoles? Nebraska will get the ball with all of its timeouts. But their quarterback, Tommy Armstrong, has thrown just 2 passes this half. Kicking into the wind. But an excellent kickoff. It will come out to the 25 for Nebraska. A lot of pressure on Bo Pelini coming off that loss at Wisconsin. Down 4, 3:25 left. A key play in the first half of this game between ranked teams. Near the end of the half, it looks like it might be 14-10 instead of blocked field goal, and it's 21-7. Returned by Gary. 85 yards for a touchdown after Gregory blocked the field goal. So it was 21-7 at that point. Here it's 24-21 Nebraska, and Leidner gets into the end zone just moments ago to give Minnesota the lead, 28-24. And a great drive without David Cobb, who is injured. Leidner has rushed for a couple of touchdowns. A couple of offensive starters injured on that first drive for Nebraska, and they have not been very good on offense. Meanwhile, David Cobb trying to fire up his team to get a road win and keep their hopes alive of a Big Ten title. First down for Nebraska on its 25, trailing by 4, all of its timeouts. Penalty flag, a dead ball foul against the Cornhuskers.
False start. Offense. Number 71. 5-yard penalty. First down.
Now Minnesota beat Nebraska in the Twin Cities last year. They have not won in Lincoln since 1960. They have not beaten Nebraska in back-to-back games since 1952 and 1954.
And Jerry Kill really looking for that signature win on the road. They won on the road at Michigan this year, but this would be a different story.
Armstrong pass. What a catch by the true freshman Pearson L. Had a touchdown grab in the first half. And that's a first down catch there.
Great catch and a great throw. This ball thrown right on the sideline. I can't not tell you how hard it is to play an entire second half of a game without having thrown more than 2 passes in the second half, and then to come out on the first play of this important drive and put that ball right on the money.
To the air again. Has time. And it's caught near midfield. Lane Hovey, just his 5th catch of the season. 13 yards and a first down.
And a great job by Hovey fighting off. He's going up against the best cover corner for Minnesota, Eric Murray. And nice anticipation from Tommy Armstrong to throw that ball before he comes out of a break.
And again, their top receiver, Kenny Bell, out since the first series with an injury. Others are stepping up so far. Little option here, and Armstrong will keep it in the Minnesota territory. Upended, the ball's out. And Nebraska got it back. Unless they ruled that the quarterback was down, but somehow the ball came back to Armstrong when he got upended at the 46-yard line.
He does a flip here. His head goes into the ground, and the ball comes out and comes right back to him.
Oh, my goodness.
Not only is Tommy Armstrong fortunate to get the ball back, unfortunately he didn't get hurt.
Wow. Gain of 5. And Armstrong may have just thrown that one away. And a flag comes in. Armstrong got hit by Botticelli. And this is going to give the Cornhuskers a first down. Although the center judge is having a discussion with the referee, Jerry McGinn, about whether that should have been a foul.
And he's asking whether he was blocked into him there. It's a different story. If Botticelli was blocked into the legs of Tommy Armstrong, that might be what the center judge is trying to, and the umpire there are trying to discuss.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, hitting quarterback below, 15-yard penalty on the defense, number 46. Automatic first down.
It would have been third down. Instead, it's a 1st and 10, and they're deep now in Minnesota territory.
And I think Botticelli, here he comes in, and
I don't agree with that call. I think he just stumbled. He barely hit him low.
Well, he's going down. He beats the center there, and he's going down, and he pulls out. He doesn't wrap up. He just kind of, his face kind of hits the legs. And I agree with you. I would not have made that call.
That's weak,
especially at that point in the game.
Well, first down just outside the 30. They're going to run it here. Abdullah slammed down by Robert Dondelay after a 1-yard gain. Inside 2 minutes now. All 3 timeouts remaining.
Yeah, now you're in a position, if you're Nebraska, where you don't have to throw the football. You got all 3 timeouts, as you said. You can get some good yardage from Abdullah.
Armstrong with time, airing it out. Westerkamp incomplete. And Westerkamp hurt again. He slammed into the goalpost.
He's holding his right knee there.
He was hurt earlier. They've already lost Kenny Bell and their center Mark Pellini to injury.
Well, you hate to see games like this where you get all these kinds of injuries. This throw was right on the money from Tommy Armstrong. Westerkamp had a chance there. Oh, and he comes down and you see his right knee kind of hyperextends it. And then to add insult to injury, he hits the goalpost there. But watch his right knee kind of buckle.
So now you're down your top 2 receivers, and you've got a 3rd down and 9. You're in 4-down territory at this point. There's Kenny Bell, senior, going to check on his friend and teammate Jordan Westerkamp.
I just hate to see this in any game, especially on the last game here for this season and in this stadium. Hopefully he'll be all right. Looks like he'll be all right.
Again, they have Iowa Friday. They're still in the hunt for the Big Ten West title, but they're out of it if they lose today. Cobb has not returned from Minnesota after getting hurt on a touchdown run. But his team played very well without him. They marched down the field and scored, with Leidner getting his 2nd rushing touchdown. Leidner, the leading rusher in the game, 115 yards from the Minnesota quarterback. And now 3rd and 9 for Nebraska. They are 1 of 5 on 3rd down this half.
And if you're Tommy Armstrong, you got to remember this is 4-down territory. There's no need to feel like you have to throw the ball beyond the sticks here, knowing you got 2 downs.
Minnesota rushes 4. Armstrong looking, and now lobs it downfield, and a leaping catch made. Oh, the ball's out. It's picked up by Minnesota. There's a penalty marker down. Minnesota has the ball. Pearsonell caught it. Looked like he might get into the end zone. Then it was stripped by Body Calhoun and recovered by the Gophers. But let's see what the flag is for.
And the official threw his hat down. I think that Pearsonell was out of bounds and came back into the field of play and touched that football. I think that's what they're discussing right now. You see his hat's off, and he comes back into the field of play and catches that football. It's a penalty.
Legal touching on the offense. Number 15. The player went out of bounds on his own, came back in, was the first to touch it. The ruling on the field was a reception, fumble, recovered by the defense. 1st and 10, Minnesota.
A huge turnover. Now the game's not over. Nebraska has 3 timeouts, 1:19 left.
Couple things. There he is out here. And when he escapes, he's going to try to go out of bounds and go upfield. Important to note that he does it on his own. He's not pushed out. If that were the case, he would be legal to come back in and touch it. But then he compounds the mistake by getting his ball stripped. Body Calhoun, who has made play after play. There you go. You see him out of bounds pretty clearly. But Body Calhoun, we saw him a week ago have an interception return. He's had made play after play for this Minnesota defense, who has done nothing but turn the football over all season long. Now 27 turnovers, and they get the biggest one of the season.
Now Pearsonell, he's put the ball on the ground 3 times today. If he doesn't fumble this, at least it's a penalty and you get another shot, because obviously they're going to accept the penalty. It would have been 3rd down and long, and Nebraska would have another shot.
2 more shots, right? You have a 4 downs.
But again, not done here. There's 1:19 left. Minnesota's backed up. You wouldn't think the Gophers will take any chances down here. So if you can stop them running the ball, get your timeouts called, you could get the ball back with 45 seconds left, still have a shot.
Yep, and the problem is at that point you still need a touchdown, obviously, and so you're going to be dependent upon throwing that ball into the end zone. So certainly not over for Nebraska, but you know, this is what happens when your top 2 receivers are out, Dave, right? Kenny Bell, we saw Jordan Westerkamp, and you're relying upon your number 1 receiver being a true freshman. And Pearsonell is a very talented player, and he's going to be a great player here for a long time, but the mistakes that young players make, you have to live with when you have the kind of injuries that Nebraska had today.
All right, now they are reviewing this. He had possession and the ball was out. It can't be what they were reviewing. He definitely was out of bounds. He was not forced out, as you said, because if he was forced out, then he could come back in and be the first guy.
Let's see, catches the ball and then comes down with it and turns, still has it, and rips it.
And I don't know, the ball didn't hit the ground anyway, so it wouldn't have mattered, right? And the ball was just taken away by Body Calhoun. Not sure what they're looking at, because again, the ball didn't hit the ground. It was just taken away by Minnesota. He went out of bounds. We saw that pretty clearly. But they're still looking to make sure that he went out of bounds. But I thought the video that we showed was
they're probably looking to see whether he was forced out or not. If this stands, what a turn of events for Jerry Kill and this Minnesota team that after an emotional and hard-fought game last week at Ohio State, to come back on the road down 2 touchdowns, get back in it.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. 1st and 10, Minnesota.
So we get confirmation, but again, the ball is at the Minnesota 4. Nebraska's not done just yet with all of its timeouts at 1:19 remaining. And Jerry Kill knows that. We'll see what kind of play calling we get here. Again, no David Cobb. So you've got guys like Kirkwood and Williams, who haven't carried it a whole lot this year, although Williams does have a touchdown today.
And if you're Nebraska, Dave, strip the football.
Out to the 6-yard line is Kirkwood. Nebraska will call a timeout, so a gain of a couple. 2 timeouts left, 1:13 on the clock. Joe Flacco and the Ravens visit the Superdome to take on the Saints. No other night is Monday night. Monday Night Countdown, served by Applebee's, kicks things off at 6. So 2nd down and 7 for Minnesota with a 4-point lead. Let's go down to the field and check in with Tom.
You know, guys, we've had this Minnesota ball club a few times now over the last couple of years, and to look at where their talent base is, how the program has grown, how Jerry Kill and his staff have brought guys along. When you consider the members on this staff that have been with him a minimum of 15 years or more. I said this last year, and I don't know how you guys feel. I'm not so sure he and his staff aren't amongst the top 5 in college football. When you go back to where Jerry Kill started, go all the way back to Saginaw Valley, go back to Emporia State, go to Southern Illinois, Northern Illinois. He's done it everywhere at every level, and it's been quick turnarounds. That doesn't just happen with everybody, guys. This is a pretty special coaching staff here in Minnesota.
Yeah, Tom, it's really an amazing story, and that's why there's so many coaches when we go out around the league that have so much respect for this program.
Kirkwood hit, breaks the tackle, and he got the first down.
And that's ball game. That's ball game. And David Cobb knows it. And you know what? He's looking out at Donnell Kirkwood saying, good power, bud, good power.
And just to finish up on Jerry Kill, if Minnesota wins this 8-3, they'll be 5-2 in the league. If Wisconsin wins today, it doesn't matter because it's a head-to-head next week. If Minnesota wins, then the Gophers will represent the Big Ten West in the championship game. And Jerry Kill has got to be a guy that other schools are looking at. Now, he's been able to get players to Minnesota. He's been able to recruit outside the state. He's been able to keep some kids local.
Well, you put the performances that he has had this is back-to-back wins now against this Nebraska team, a team that has talent. You win on the road against Michigan this year, and then you play the way you did last week against Ohio State. They gave Ohio State all they could handle. Wisconsin, as they look at this tape for next week's game, they're going to be unpleasantly surprised, just like Urban Meyer was, and just like Bo Pelini was, with how good this team really is.
Brian, on the other side, Bo Pelini, this would be 2 straight losses. And look, there's only 3 schools who the last 6 years have won 9 or more games each year. And Nebraska is one of those 3. But, you know, people in Lincoln, they're always looking at ways to be unhappy with Bo Pelini. And some of it is self-induced by Pelini. It would be interesting to see how this impacts his future.
Well, we talked with him last night. So there's a lot of pressure at this program. And you want there to be a lot of pressure. You want the fans to live and die with every single win and every single loss. And I think for Bo Pelini, the struggle is this might be as good as this program can be right now. They might be a 9-4 program. They've been a 9-4, 10-4 program for the past 7 years. And with the competitive nature and landscape of college football, this might be the new reality for Nebraska. And it's hard for the Nebraska fans to accept that. It's hard for Bo Pelini to accept that, but I'm not so sure it's not accurate.
A great win for Minnesota, spoiling Amir Abdullah's senior day. The Golden Gophers are still alive for a Big Ten championship. They'll play in Madison next week. And if they beat Wisconsin, they will go to the Big Ten title game. 28-24 the final as they win at Nebraska for the first time since 1960. And here's Tom with Jerry Kill.
Coach, on your jerseys, I don't know if people can see it on the numbers, but what's on there? Bricks, right?
Brick by brick.
Brick by brick. How big is this one?
This is the big one, you know, and the way we did it, you know, our best running back, one of the best in the country, got his hamstring, and I can't say enough of where our kids spot. That's all I can say. I'm so proud of them, and this is what you got to do, and unbelievable by our kids.
Assess the turnaround of Mitch Leitner's performance from last week to this week when you needed him to make critical plays, when you needed him to not make the critical error. He came through for you today, didn't he?
He did. He just keeps growing up, and that's part of being a quarterback. And he's been questioned, and he just keeps coming back. Mentally tough kid.
Part of building a program is taking steps, and some of those steps are beating high-profile programs on the road. Is this one of the first times we've seen this happen in Minnesota now?
Yeah, it has in my tenure. I can't speak for anybody else, but I know it's been a long time. And the greatest thing is, next week, we're playing for it all on our side. So we're excited about that.
Go enjoy the win, Coach.
Thank you. I'm going to enjoy those moments, baby.
Well, he's one of the most respected coaches around the country when you speak to other coaches, and he's going to get even more national recognition with a win like this, and now they have a chance to play for the Big Ten West crown in Madison next week. Half game back of Wisconsin, but obviously whatever happens with the Badgers today in Iowa City, it will all come down to next week. Meanwhile, Nebraska 4-3, 8-3 overall. 28-24, Minnesota comes back from 14 points down, and a blocked field goal that was returned for a touchdown by Nebraska. The Gophers overcome it all and win in Lincoln for the first time since 1960. For Brian Gracie, Tom Luganville, I'm Dave Pasch. College Football Scoreboard presented by Honda coming up so long from Lincoln.